the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back, man. Y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, y'all already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show with yours truly, PharoahNFL, and obviously the Severe Raider. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to head over to both channels because we are going live on both channels, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, clock in, as we like to say it, man. Make sure to clock in. Hey, man, we got a lot to talk about, man. The combine is officially completed. We were able to see some of these prospects test over the weekend or last 4 or 5 days. Well, some did. I mean, man, I think that the thing to do nowadays is just wait till my pro day. That's pretty much. A lot of the top prospects didn't really test, or if they did, it wasn't for all the not all the testing. They're gonna wait till the pro day, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. Obviously, Stafford pivoted. Hey, we called it. We called it. Stafford pivoted, or not? I shouldn't say pivoted, but the Raiders have to pivot from losing out on Stafford. Going to the Rams late last week. We talked about it but it was before the news was announced. So we had to drop it. If y'all were tuning in on that around the shit episode, we had to make sure and drop that episode so at least so it could be relevant. But a lot of things that we talked about like were kind of true. Like we didn't really believe it till we see it. Didn't really make sense for Stafford to leave the Rams. But we'll get into that conversation. Aaron Rodgers, Michael Mayer on the trade block. We'll get into that. But before we even start the conversation, man, salute to everybody. The night crew is in the building, man. Raider, Fool Chris in the building. He says salute, Severe Pharaoh, man. Appreciate you coming through. Raider Way in the building, man. Salute PharoahNFL, Severe, man. Appreciate you coming through. Hit Stick Stepper in the building, man. My guy, man. Appreciate you coming through. Louis, man, I bet I can't, man. I can't, man. You're taking it too far, man. You're taking it too far. But we'll get into that Aaron Rodgers talk. We'll for sure get into that Aaron Rodgers. Jolie in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Anthony Estrada in the building, man. He says, yo, what's the deal? Salute to my people. Raiders. Man, appreciate you coming through. Sacktown Raider Mike in the building, man. Hey, make sure to clock in, man. Oh, is this the one and only PNW Mark Raiders? Oh, you got a whole different name now. I see you. Okay.
Oh, different
Mark
swag about him.
Whole different everything. He said, but he's letting everybody know, man. Clock in and subscribe. You haven't subscribed already. Yaya Hatamaki in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through.
We got some weirdos in the chat, man. I was trying to snipe them. They're not on my channel though.
Oh man, yeah. That's what's going on. All right. Some people are excited. Oh damn. Yeah, you go. Oh yeah, you go.
I was trying to snipe them. They're not on my channel though, man. So
you got to go, man. You got to go. Cuban Raider in the building says, "Yo, we need to trade up for Cam." Hey, that might be a possibility. Who knows, man? It's the offseason is all about smoke. So we've heard some things. Raiders might be a possibility. And we'll have a conversation about that too. But let's not waste any time, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But Severe, man, what's going on, man? Like, I know we haven't had a chance to talk about the combine. It officially happened. Before we even get into the combine, let's quick reaction to Stafford. Pretty much going back to the Rams. What were your thoughts on that? Were you surprised?
I think that makes the most sense for both parties. You know, if Stafford wants to win, the Rams are in a much closer situation, much better situation in terms of their coaching staff, the roster, the division they're in. Like he has a much better opportunity of winning there than he does, with us, the Giants for the other team that were like really heavily pursuing them. So I think that makes the most sense for them. In terms of the Rams, it's better to keep him because the alternative options in free agency or on the roster aren't as good. So, and their team that, they won a playoff game last year. So why not try to run it back and see if you can take the next step further. So I think it makes a lot of sense for both parties. I didn't think it made a lot of sense for us to make that move just because I don't think we're near as close to winning as the Rams are. But I think, for him and for the Rams, it was obvious choice for both parties.
Yeah, man, and that's what we were saying last week on last show. It was hard for us to believe, but we obviously, we seen all the reports, and the Rams did give, Stafford and his agent, pretty much permission to go talk to other teams about a contract. So once that happened, once they're able to, get the final terms, I believe they met with the Giants and obviously the Raiders. And I'm sure the Raiders were on the phone with the Rams about possible compensation for a pick. That's when they have that Friday meeting, and the ball was in Stafford's court, and he ended up going back. And he ended up taking less money than what the Giants and the Raiders were offering, according to reports. We don't know the final numbers, but obviously he's going to get paid more or get at least more guaranteed money because I believe there is no guaranteed money left in his contract. I believe. I think that was what was going on, but yeah, so I think he's going to get more of that. They're still negotiating the final terms of that deal, so I don't think that's why the numbers haven't officially come out for that. But the Raiders offered more. The Giants offered more. But what I did like when I heard from the Raiders' standpoint is they weren't willing to give up anything more than a third-round pick. Because Vic Tafur, one of the beat writers, were saying that they're definitely not going to trade that six overall pick, which I 100% agree. And they're saying that what would have gotten it done would have been a second rounder, which obviously the Raiders weren't interested in doing that. And, at the end, it was up to Stafford, and Stafford chose to go back to his team. I think the Giants would have probably gave in to the demands because the Giants, we all know their situation with their GM and head coach. They're on the hot seat, so they're willing to do whatever it takes to get Stafford in the building. But at the end of the day, it just didn't work out for him. But, it is what it is. I'm not mad at the Raiders for trying. I'm mad at Tom Brady. I don't care what they say, but, by chance meets up with Stafford in Montana. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at it at all. It's just, it is what it is. The Rams are in a better position to win now than the Raiders are. And I get why Stafford would go back to the Rams. A lot of familiarity. Sean McVay, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. He literally won a Super Bowl with that coach. He knows what he's capable of. So it just makes sense for Stafford to go back to that team. That being said, the Raiders got to pivot, right? They have to figure out what they're going to do at that quarterback position. But what they did kind of show us in that they want to win now. Like, that move kind of exposed, we kind of knew. We knew. I mean, the Raiders never rebuild. You know what I mean? We talked about this before. They never give into a rebuild. I mean, I think they should probably do that. I mean, it seems like they should go in that direction, but right now it seems like they're doing whatever it takes to win right now. I mean, they got a 74-year-old head coach. He's not waiting for anything. They're about to trade for a 37-year-old quarterback. Obviously, he's not going to be waiting for no rebuild. He's going to try to win now. So, which tells me is, are they going to be in the market for Sam Darnold? Is that going to be the number one target in free agency? I'm sure they didn't have him high on the board if they're willing to trade for Stafford and give up draft picks. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously he was not the primary choice. Obviously he was more secondary. If they were doing what they're obviously as evidenced by the pursuit of Matthew Stafford and the coincidental meetings between him and Tom Brady. So obviously that was their top choice. So maybe they pivot and go to Sam Darnold. I don't, like I said, I don't have a lot of confidence in Sam Darnold. There is that USC connection. Pete obviously was a longtime USC head coach. Sam Darnold went to USC, was drafted from that school. I'm sure there are some ties there. I'm sure there's some love there. But I just don't think Sam Darnold is the answer. And he's gonna want a long-term contract worth a nice amount of money. And I don't think the Raiders, like I said, I don't think he's the guy that is going to take them to a Super Bowl. I don't think he's that guy. So I don't see the point in bringing him in to start for you, especially for the kind of money he's demanding, right? If it was like a cheap contract, you wanted him to be a bridge guy, you draft a younger guy, or, you have aims at drafting a younger guy in the future and he's a stopgap. Maybe you get lucky and win one. But for what the type of money he's looking for, that's a big amount of money on your salary cap, and that kind of prevents you from building the kind of team that you want to build. That's why it's so important for teams to nail these draft picks, especially a quarterback. When you can nail the draft pick and you can nail the quarterback down, you can get super aggressive. Like, perfect example, we saw what the Texans did with CJ Stroud. We're seeing what the Commanders are doing with Deebo Samuel, right? Like, or with Jaden Daniels, as evidenced by the trade for Deebo Samuel. When you got that young guy on a rookie deal, you can build out the rest of your roster because you're not allocating really any money toward the quarterback position, which is generally the most expensive position in all of football.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let me ask you this, because I'll add this about the Darnold situation. There were some recent reports about like it possibly being a 1-year deal and the Raiders sign and trade, meaning that the Vikings could franchise him or negotiate a 1-year deal. It would have been like a Hail Mary, type of situation, and for it to go work out that way, and the Raiders would trade to Vikings. I don't know what the trade compensation would look like, but that's pretty much gone because it's official. Like Darnold is not franchised, so he's going to head into free agency. So he's going to command at least like a 3-year deal, 2 to 3. I'm sure he's probably going to command like a 3-year deal. What that contract is going to look like, who knows? But I mean, he's by far probably the best QB option out there. I mean, it's kind of hard because I don't want to say that when Aaron Rodgers is out there. You know what I mean? With a chip on his shoulder. He got to have a chip on his shoulder. I'm sure like that, the way the Jet situation, everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers like he's not Aaron Rodgers and what he's capable of. I mean, I know he's up there in age. I'm sure he's not Tom Brady in the fact that like he's 100% committed to football and like, taking care of himself. And you can see like Tom Brady played until well into his mid 40s at quarterback. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll get into the Tom Brady talk, but as far as Sam Darnold, I agree, man. I'm gonna pass on it, but if it's a reasonable deal, then I'm okay with it. Nothing more than a 2-year deal, but he's not gonna accept that. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna want to get it. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting situation for the Raiders because I think the Raiders kind of told on themselves on how they view Darnold and probably some of the players their spot at number 6 to get a quarterback by trying to trade for Stafford.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really, if they really viewed Darnold highly, then they probably wouldn't even entertain trying to trade, pretty good draft picks to get a guy like Stafford. But yeah, let's get into the chat real quick, man. My guy Raider Smoke in the building says like and subscribe. What's up, chat, man? Appreciate you, man. Hey, make sure to clock in, man. Clock in, hit that like button. My guy Smoke in the building. Appreciate
extraordinaire. Right there.
Man, the golf king, man. I need to step my game up, man. I gotta perfect my swing, man, my golf swing. But hey, man, we got a super chat. My guy Afakazi in the building. Hey, man, he says, well, look at that. He says they may trade baby Gronkowski. What's next? They're going to trade baby Kurt Warner. Oh no, thoughts severe. Hey, man, chime in.
Yeah, man. I'm against trading Michael Mayer unless it's like in a package to move up to get your quarterback of the future. Other than that, I don't think we're going to get enough value for the level of talent and for the prospect he is. I know last year was kind of a wasted year for him because of whatever he was dealing with early in the season. But I think like as evidence, as soon as he gets back, our run game improves, right? And they start to try to make him a more focal point of the offense. Now, obviously, they were unsuccessful in doing so, but Antonio Pierce was saying all the time, like we want to get him involved. And we saw last year with Chip Kelly, Ohio State, they were running some 12 personnel, and I think that that was an effective lineup for them. So you got a guy like Michael Mayer and you got a guy like Brock Bowers. They complement each other well. So I think you should keep that guy unless you're getting something like a second round pick back or a third or a high third. I'm keeping Michael Mayer. In terms of Aiden O'Connell, yeah, I'm cool. He can kick rocks, but I'm good. I'm good on him on Gardner. I'll be totally fine with a completely new quarterback room. Everybody can go. Bradley Carter, you can kick rocks too, bro. Like all of y'all can go. So I'll be quite all right with that.
So if y'all haven't known, just to give a little context, last week it was reported that Mayer was on a trade block. They're entertaining offers for Mayer, and you know what? I mean, if he doesn't want to be here. Because there's a possibility that maybe his agent, you know how it works. Like, if he doesn't want to be here, because there was a situation where Mayer was gone for undisclosed reasons. We don't know why. You know what I mean? We can only speculate and say like, oh, okay, it might be some type of mental health issue because he wasn't on the injury report. There was nothing, we weren't given any reasons, and he was gone for like, I want to say at least half the season. I mean, it was
maybe a little bit more than that. Actually.
Yeah, he was gone. He was gone for a while. It had nothing to do with injuries, man. He was perfectly healthy. So then now going into this offseason, it's a whole different coaching staff, another regime. He could, from his point of view, the guy, like his opportunity on the football field is going to be secondary to Brock Bowers. He can go to a situation where he could be the number one guy. Yeah. So it could be a possible thing where, the Raiders are like, you know what, let's maybe part ways. As a fan of the team, I would love to keep Michael Mayer. I want to see how a creative offensive coordinator can use Michael Mayer and obviously Brock Bowers, but our quarterback situation is kind of a question mark. I can see where Michael Mayer is coming from. To be honest with you, realistically speaking, a fair value trade as of right now would be a 3rd round, 4th round pick, and that's being generous. That's being generous because production wise, he hasn't done anything. No. But we know the talent's there. We know the talent. Exactly. Like we can see the talent. But also, we know that he's not Brock Bowers in that guy that can get consistently open. He doesn't create a lot of separation. He's more of like a jump ball, maybe a target in the end, red zone. You could see it because he has that, ability to jump and go get it. But we haven't really seen it. We only could we've seen it in spurts, but we haven't seen it. Maybe because of the quarterback play, maybe it's because of the offensive system that he was in, but we haven't really seen it. So I would say max third or 4th round value for him right now. And that's being generous. Like I seen someone in the chat say like a 6th round pick, and I'm like, yeah, I can't really argue with you because he hasn't really done anything. And you got to think about it this way too. This upcoming draft, there's some tight end talent. It's actually a good draft for a tight end.
Yeah. But
so that's working against them too. If you think about it, like a team could be like, you know what, instead of just, trading away a 3rd or 4th round pick, there's some good talented prospects coming up.
The thing about that is that if Michael Mayer came out in this draft class, you take Michael Mayer from the year he was drafted, you put him in this draft class, he'd be the best. He'd be tight end 1. And it's probably not even close. He'd be tight end 1 for sure.
In this draft class? In this draft class?
He'd be tight end 1. Yes, he'd be tight end 1. He's better than Tyler Warren. He's better than Colston Loveland. He's better than the dude from Miami. He's better than all those dudes. Yeah, it's really, like the only 2 guys that were drafted above him were Dalton Kincaid, who put on an historic run when he was at Utah, and then Sam Laporta, who was like a super freak athlete at tight end. So those are the 2 guys that were drafted above him. And even in that class, people were like, he's he's right there with those. Most people had him over Sam Laporta. Most people had him second to Dalton Kincaid. And Dalton Kincaid just had a crazy year. And that's why he was tied in 1 that year, right? The only one in this class that's really even competing with him will be Tyler Warren, just because of the kind of production he had over at Penn State. But even then, like I said, I would say Michael Mayer is a better tight end than he is. So if the Raiders were to trade him and get anything less, then like I said, then like a 2nd or a high 3rd, they'll be selling low on a prospect. And at that point, if you're not going to get back reasonable value, then why make that trade? I would rather have the prospect and the upside at that position than trade him and then okay, we're going to trade him and then we're going to use a late round pick on the tight end. The kids call that hustling backwards, right? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And just in terms of him as a tight end, I think he's going to fit well in this system because he's not the super athlete that Brock is, and that's how Brock wins a lot. Brock is just an incredible athlete at the tight end position. But Michael Mayer is a better technician. So in terms of route running, especially the short to intermediate routes, he's like better than Brock Bowers. He's not the athlete that Brock Bowers is, so it looks different. But in the Chip Kelly offense, where it's a lot of timing, a lot of precision, like that stuff is going to work. Like he's going to be able to use it.
I think he's more than an athlete. I mean, the dude got over 100 catches at that tight end. I mean, he's more than just an athlete. He's very skilled at the tight end position.
He's skilled, but Michael Mayer is a better technician. Michael Mayer is like he's a better technician. Brock is just so much of a better athlete than him that it doesn't matter how good of a technician Michael Mayer is, because he's not going to be able to make up for that gap in athleticism. Like he's not going to be able to do it. So that's why obviously Brock is going to be the top guy, and he should be the top guy. But in his offense, like there is a spot for both of those guys. Like at UCLA, who I watched, like they had a move tight end that they used. Like that was a Brock Bowers type, right? Brock Bowers is way better than them, but that's Greg Dulcich, who ended up being a second round pick for the Broncos. Like that's a Brock Bowers, and he did stupid, crazy stuff in that offense under Chip Kelly. Like he went from being a walk-on at wide receiver to being, I think he was the top tight end drafted in his class. So like Brock is going to fit that role. Like he's a move tight end. You put him in the slot, do all kind of crazy stuff with him. But this past year we had a guy, Maliki Mautaval, or the year before that, and he's more of a Michael Mayer type, where he's like more of a precision guy. He's a bigger body, a little bit more physical, and he found a role in that offense too. So I think there's a role for both those guys.
There is, but he has to want to be here, and he probably feels like he could get a better opportunity somewhere else. I mean, I understand what you're saying, like, oh, if we can't get a second round pick, but the thing is, you're looking at the talent and how you feel, but at the end of the day, the teams, I think, are going to look at his production, and his production, it hasn't been a lot. And they're going to use that, I'm sure, like when they negotiate a trade, to see what they can get for a guy like Michael Mayer. Because they could be like, hey, well, he hasn't done something. What has he done so far in the NFL? And he's not the type of talent that will transcend the players around him. I mean, Brock Bowers, we've seen like,
Brock is that guy.
It didn't matter who was at quarterback. It didn't matter who was around him at wide receiver.
Didn't matter who was covering him either.
It didn't matter who was covering him. You know what I mean? Michael Mayer is not that guy. So he could possibly be a good player, but great player, I'm not sure if that's him. I don't think he's going to transcend the players around him. I mean, we haven't seen that. So you can't say that he's going to be that if we haven't seen it like last 2-3 years. And obviously last season was a tough season for him. He was missing for a long time. So I could see a team be like, you know what, we're not going to give you a second round pick. Like what? Like that's not going to happen. We're even a third round pick. I would be, if we can get a third round pick for Michael Mayer and he doesn't want to be here, I'm good with that. I'm cool with that. Because if you think about it, what is his role going to be with the team? His role with the team is not going to be, you mentioned like him as a blocker. We can get a blocking tight end. You know what I mean? Because we have a guy that can receive the football. You know what I mean? That could be that receiving tight end in Brock Bowers. So if we can get another tight end later in the draft that it could be a dominant blocker or a veteran tight end, like that's not hard to find.
But that's so it's just two things there. So that you're making the caveat that he wants to be out. So that's a big caveat. Like, we don't know. We don't know he wants to be gone. Because if he wanted to be gone, then he could have just stayed out last year and then never returned to the team. And he came back and took a reduced role. And you never heard him complain all year. You never hear through back channels that he complained at all either. So I think we're stretching when we like reach and say, oh, what if he wants out? Well, like, you know, what if anybody wants out, right? What if Brock Bowers decides, oh, I don't want to play for this 74-year-old coach, get me out of here? Like, you know, we can say anybody, what if they want out? So I think he hasn't expressed any thing that he wanted out. And even when he went through what he went through, he was still, you know, his family was in constant touch with the team, kind of letting them know, like, this is something that's happened before. He's going to come back. You know, AP was constantly giving updates on it as well. Like, you know what, hey, Big Mike, we're talking to him. We're going to let him work through whatever he's working through. We were in a good space. There's never any time where they were like, oh, yeah, we're cool, or we don't know what's going on with Mike. Like, you know, he's gone. He's in the wind. He's AWOL. Like it was some communication there. And then just in terms of finding a guy that can block, yeah, you can find a guy that can block. But can you find a guy that can block, but also that's as good of a receiver as he is? So not only has he turned himself into one of the better blocking tight ends and our best blocking tight end on the roster, in my opinion, but he's also still a very good receiver. So you have a guy that can do both of those things. Brock has the potential to be a great blocker. He has the willingness. I think he has the athleticism. He has the tenacity, but he doesn't have the technique yet. And that was displayed. We've seen that, like we saw it several times. And if somebody wants me to pull up the clips, I can pull up the clips and I can show you on tape. So he's not there yet. Michael Mayer spent that first year, under Josh McDaniels. That's essentially all he was doing, was like learning how to block, like getting that part of his game down. And now that's one of his strengths. But he still has that receiving aspect. It's just when you have Brock Bowers, like that's who the ball is going to go to. Like the ball is going to find the best player on the team. Obviously, Brock Bowers is the best player on the team, so he should get a large share of the targets. But having that threat on the other side, that only helps Brock, only helps everybody else around him as well, in addition to what he brings as a blocker.
And let me ask you this, because I just thought about it, because you just said, you brought up the point about me saying if he wants to leave. Okay, let's say if he didn't demand a trade, right, and someone offered a third-round pick, would you take it?
I think you have. I think you have to take it. I think
I'm taking that.
Yeah, but that's what I said. I would take a third. I would take a third. I still think you're selling low because you traded up for him, so you gave up multiple assets and you used the second round pick on him, and you still never really used them. But right. You kind of got to hedge your bets there. Are we going to get more than third round value out of him going forward?
Yeah.
Especially in this draft. Like, this draft is super deep. So if you can get a third round pick in this draft class with the amount of D tackles and running backs,
right?
Like you take that. You're like, hey,
right.
I'm taking this. I'm sorry.
Right.
You take that risk. But in other classes, maybe not. But or if you didn't have a Brock, or maybe you don't do that. But
right.
Obviously Brock being here, that's the great equalizer where we got the best receiving tight end in the league. Like,
yeah. When Brock Bowers was drafted, I think all bets were off for it made Mayer kind of expendable. It was like, hey, we found a bet. Basically, the Raiders said we found a better player than you, and then he showed it. He showed that he was a better player. So now it's Brock is more of a luxury, which
Mayer,
I don't mind. I don't mind keeping him, but if something I agree with you. If a team offered a third round pick, I don't see why the Raiders would say no, especially if they're in a situation where they're trying to trade up and, maybe possibly get a quarterback or whatever the case, wheel and deal, you know what I mean? Especially because they're trying to get their guy of the future at that quarterback position. But yeah, man.
I just have a feeling if we trade Michael Mayer, he's gonna go somewhere and be like Mark Andrews and be he's gonna turn into a top 10 tight end. And we're gonna be like, dang, we had both those guys here, and we let them go. And but it won't hurt as bad because we still have Brock. It's not gonna be like, oh my God, what are we gonna do at tight end now?
Yeah.
We got Brock Bowers, so we still good at tight end. But it's just that if you want to run that 12 personnel, which Chip Kelly ran last year with Ohio State, a significant amount, then it helps to have a guy, across, especially when a lot of teams are going. Brock is going to get a whole bunch of attention this year, and you want some other people to be able to kind of capitalize on the attention that he's getting, and on those one-on-one matchups. And I think that Michael Mayer is the guy that can do it, especially since we don't have another receiver across from Jacoby that we can really trust. You would hope that Michael Mayer will be a guy that can do that. So. But if we can get a third in this draft class, I'm saying, that's ammunition to trade up. That's a damn good running back. That's going to be a damn good defensive tackle. It's a deep defensive tackle draft, pretty deep, on the offensive line as well. You can get some pretty good pieces in the third round. So you got to kind of hedge your bets there. And if you can get a third round pick, hey, appreciate you, Big Mike.
Yeah, no, for sure, I agree, man. Hey, Avocazzi, man, appreciate supporting the show, man. Appreciate the super chat. But we got another super chat. My guy Raider Smoke, man. Let me go ahead and Support my guy. He says, what's up with my guys as like and sub, man? He says, Shador purposely tanking the interviews. Hey, we'll talk about that, man. That's what I thought about too. Like, out of the two QBs severe dislikes, who would you go with? Fields or Rodgers? I would go Rodgers. I think Rodgers with a chip on his shoulder, if he came here with the understanding that, you know, if it's a 1-year deal and the Raiders still go after a QB in a draft, like whether that's in the first round or some point in the draft. Obviously, we know the Raiders are picking number 6, so you know it's going to be tough for them to trade up. But we'll get into that conversation a little bit. But I like the Rodgers situation. Now, if it's a situation where like Rodgers is like, oh, you got to give me a 3-year deal and you got to give me my own chauffeur and like you know just weird demands, comes in with a big ego. Which, I mean, everybody has an ego, and especially a guy like Aaron Rodgers, future Hall of Famer. But I just like the dynamic of Aaron Rodgers being in the building and having a young rookie just sitting and just seeing a guy work, seeing a guy like, and if he's able to bounce back for a year and just having that experience, and even if you got to bench Aaron Rodgers, let's say if he played terrible and you just let the rookie, he just had that time to you could ease that rookie into the starting lineup. But I just like Aaron Rodgers. It's just the experience, in my opinion. I'd rather go to Aaron Rodgers over Fields, but I can see Chip Kelly going for a Fields too, just because of his mobility factor.
Yeah. As much as I hate Justin Fields, you guys know what I feel about Justin Fields. You guys know what I feel about Justin Fields. I would rather go Justin Fields. And that tells you how much I dislike Aaron Rodgers. That tells you how much I don't like. If Aaron Rodgers didn't have a chip after the Packers basically told him, like, you know, we're good, we're gonna roll with Jordan Love, and then after, you know, he had the Achilles injury and people were kind of countered him out, like he didn't have a chip after that. Like, why is he gonna have why all of a sudden now? Like, okay, well now I have a chip because like where was this chip like last year, right? Like people were counting you guys out last year. Like, why didn't this chip exist then? You walked in and you basically got the coach fired. You got the offensive coordinator fired. You know, you got you brought in your own guy and you still didn't produce, right? You brought in your best friend, you know, I was gonna say something wild, but you brought in Devontae and he still didn't do anything. So it's like why am I to expect it to happen now? And we know Rodgers is not a guy that's going to be tutoring any quarterbacks. He had Jordan Love previously, and he essentially was like, "No, I'm not like, it's not my job to get this dude ready to play. It's my job to try to win." Like Rodgers isn't thinking about like the Rodgers don't care about the future of the Raiders. Like he doesn't Rodgers doesn't care about anybody's future but his own. Right. And he's going to do what's best for Aaron Rodgers. And what's best for Aaron Rodgers may not necessarily be what's best for the Raiders. I think he's showed time and time again that he's more concerned about him and his legacy and his NFL career than the health and the future of the franchise. And hey, when you're at this stage of your career, I got no bones with that. But I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to take a young quarterback under his wing and like, let me show you the ropes, let me teach you a thing or two. Like, I don't think that's he's never. I never heard about him doing it before. Maybe he did it with Jordan Travis. I'm not sure, and I have to look into that. But in Green Bay, that was not something he ever did.
Which, you know what, I don't mind. I don't care. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, you learn by not by some people learn. You learn by watching what they do in every day. If people learn differently. That's why you have to. That's why when you're teaching somebody, you have to attack it different ways. Some people can learn and observe. Some people you have to show them. Some people they actually have to do it. Some people it requires all three. But if you're not checking all of these boxes, like, bro, like
like, oh, you watched me do it 5 times. Well, yeah, I watched you do it, but I don't know what you're doing. I just see you doing it. I don't know
Right.
the why behind it. I don't know how this translates to the game. I don't know like what this does. Like it's just me seeing you do these actions. Like that doesn't necessarily, like, my synapses aren't going to like magically connect, and I understand the why behind it. Without the why behind something, a lot of times it just, it's just an activity. You just see somebody doing something for the sake of doing it, and you can't connect it to how that improves you as a quarterback or as a player.
I understand, but I think I don't really have that expectation for Aaron Rodgers to come in and take the quarterback under his wing, because I don't think the Raiders are even looking at it from that perspective. We already established like earlier in the show that the Raiders are looking to win now. So if you sign a guy like Aaron Rodgers, that just continues what we think that the Raiders are trying to do, and they're trying to win now. Obviously, with the Stafford rumors and them trying to get him, that was a win now move. Getting Aaron Rodgers is a win now move. And then we also, get a young quarterback in the draft, and he's waiting in the wings. Obviously, I get it. People learn different ways, but that's on him. I mean, that's on the coaching staff. That's on when he gets that opportunity, and he's going to learn. And obviously, he's going to see a guy that has been great at that quarterback position for so long. He's going to be able to see that week in, week out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Then the rookie could probably come in and get some game time experience and learn that way. I just don't look at it as a bad move, especially if the Raiders don't have to invest too much money to get Aaron Rodgers in the building. I mean, it's, at this point, I think the Raiders teams are going to have more leverage in how much money, especially because, Aaron Rodgers up there in age. And you mentioned about Aaron Rodgers caring about his legacy. Okay, that's good. I think that benefits the Raiders, because what benefits his legacy is probably going to benefit the Raiders, because he's going to want to he wants to win now. He wants to bounce back from what he did with the Jets. The Jets, I'm sure he wanted to win and have a lot more success than what he did with the Jets. He got hurt that first year. The second year, it was just, everything was off. The way that offseason was off, the way he attacked that offseason and went into the season, the coach got fired, the rest is history. I get it. I'm sure he's trying to bounce back. I'm sure if, Tom Brady, the way it's looking, Tom Brady's talking to everybody. And if he has a conversation with Aaron Rodgers, and he has a conversation, if Aaron Rodgers has a conversation with Pete Carroll, because maybe someone made a point, I think a lot of Aaron Rodgers' problem has been respect. He probably doesn't respect the people that's in the building. But I think with the Raiders, as much as I've been critical about Pete Carroll and how old he's been, I'm sure he has respect for Pete Carroll and what he's done in the league. I'm sure he has respect for Tom Brady and what he's done in this league. So if he comes here with the understanding that, like, hey, 1 year, you know what I mean, or 2 years or whatever, I think the Raiders are going to have the leverage with the contract. I'm not worried about that. It's more of, I think people are like, I don't want that cancer in the locker room. I think that's what people are like, yeah, they're not too sure about. But if the Raiders are not going to be really heavily invested in a long-term deal, how is it a lose-lose? I think it's a win-win. We're in a situation, most likely next year is going to be a transitional year. It's not going to be we're looking for a bridge quarterback. Even Stafford was only going to be a 2-year deal. It wasn't going to be like a 5-6 year deal. It was going to be a 2-year deal. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a 1-year deal, 2 years max. It might be a team option for the second year, if everything goes well the first year. And I want to say this. I want to be very clear from what I'm saying right now. We still get a young QB in the draft, and I'm saying, like, if we have an opportunity to get that QB in the first round, we go get him. If we can trade up and it makes sense, go get him. I don't think it should stop the Raiders from getting a quarterback. Everything should be, it's Aaron Rodgers, a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers shouldn't stop a team from getting their young guy. Even there are rumors about him going to the Giants, and some people are like, "Oh, I hope Aaron Rodgers goes to the Giants," and so they now take him from drafting a QB. I'm like, no, a 41-year-old quarterback is not going to stop the Giants from drafting a QB. I don't see that happening. Maybe if they go, possibly you can make a case and say, oh, well, they might want to, improve that offensive line. You know how when Tom Brady went to the Bucks, what was their first draft pick was it? I think Tristan Wirth got drafted. I believe that first.
I think so.
Yeah, and he's all pro tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, but I could maybe that can possibly happen, but for the most part, if you're going to be signing a 41-year-old quarterback, I don't think that's going to stop you from getting your quarterback in the future in the draft. And a guy that's been experienced, 4-time MVP, he's been to multiple playoff runs. He's going to bring so much experience. And we'll actually, hey, you know what? Like, I guess we should start this conversation a little bit earlier but we could play a clip from I guess in a little bit. I'll set it up, man. But Max, he was making a case for him on his pod too as well.
So the thing about Aaron Rodgers is, so what's best for Aaron Rodgers' legacy is not necessarily what's best for the Raiders, right? If Aaron Rodgers is able to return to form, then possibly. But if Aaron Rodgers is struggling and he's turnover prone, he's taking a bunch of sacks, but he doesn't want to, cede the job to a younger guy, to possibly salvage our season, and then he becomes bad in the locker room because he wants to play, because he doesn't want to be Aaron Rodgers, 4 or 5-time MVP. They got benched for a rookie quarterback. Then that creates issues. What also creates issues is, hey, every week Aaron Rodgers has his podcast with Pat, or his appearance on Pat McAfee show, right? Some of the things that started to create issues with the Devontae Adams was what? His weekly appearance on Up and Adams, when he's on air airing dirty laundry. And if, and we talked about this, I don't know, how long ago? Was a week ago, 2 weeks ago? He literally, it's flag on the play, he literally begged the Jets, pleaded, like, do not cut me, please. And what did they do? The Jets, they cut him. Last I remember, the Jets needed a quarterback too, right? And they still cut this guy. They wanted to wash their hands of that situation. So why should we? The whole reason people told me that it was such a good idea to bring in Pete Carroll was, Pete Carroll was going to establish a culture, right? He's going to have a culture here in with the Raider organization, and that's going to permeate throughout the years, and he's going to set the foundation. But you don't set the foundation of your culture with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Like, that's kind of the opposite. So I don't see how that makes a lot of sense. And then if you look at the Jets, right? Maybe you want to blame all their offensive, the play callers and all that stuff. But over there, he had Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. He ain't getting that over here. He's not getting that over here. He's getting Brock and Jacoby, and that's Brock is a great weapon and Jacoby is a solid weapon. But as in terms of perimeter weapons, like, we don't got no Garrett Wilson or Devontae. So, what people thought was going to be what people thought of Breece Hall. So, like, he's going to come to a team with lesser weapons as well. So I just don't think that, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think it could potentially go well, but it could potentially go extremely bad also.
But if they sign him to a 1-year deal, and it's a deal that, like, is manageable, like, I don't think it's going to be. What is Aaron Rodgers going to command? At a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers that's removed from 2 years of, like, pretty much non-existent football. I mean, he did play. I think he played well in the latter half of last season. I think he played a little bit better. That first year he was hurt, the Achilles, but he's 41 years old. I think this is the lowest stock that we've seen ever for Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, he's humbled right now. Like, and he got a chip on his shoulder. I just think, like, hey, I don't think his contract is going to be that crazy. You know what I mean? I think Darnold's going to command more money than Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's kind of like one of my big arguments with going with Aaron Rodgers. Is going to be cheaper, a veteran with a lot of experience, has seen it all, and then you bring in a young QB. Hey, maybe soak up some games somehow, some way. I know you're saying that he's not going to be that guy that's going to be a teacher, but just being around a great football player, and as well as, like, the Tom Brady's in the building and everything like that. And I don't know, man. I'm not against it. I'm not against it for the right. It just gotta be right. If you're talking about giving him like a big time deal, no. All that extra noise, I agree with you. Like I don't like that. He's probably gonna be on the Pat McAfee show almost every week, so I don't like that either. Because then that means like he's gonna probably be yeah. I don't like that. That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't want that. But Daniel Kim says draft Shador and sign Rodgers. Our QB room would be set up for the short term and the possible long. That's what I'm saying. Just like Spike Day says, do everything you can to see if you can get the guy in the building. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. But now that I think about it, I don't like the Pat McAfee situation. So maybe I don't know what that would look like. I mean, they gotta have a little understanding beforehand. But I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is the type to hold his end of the bargain, man. He's gonna, if he gets mad or something goes wrong. Look,
the fact that you got to worry about that,
because we seen what Devontae did. We seen Devontae the way he handled this situation, and I'm like, damn, birds of a feather, they flock together, man.
Exactly.
I didn't like the Devontae situation at all. Man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But let's play that little. This was a notable quotable, so I'll just go ahead and just play it now. And this is Max Crosby pretty much making his case for Aaron Rodgers to come to the Raiders. Let's see here.
But it's the first year off an Achilles is one of the hardest things to do. You've seen it happen with Kirk. Kirk had a down year. It happened with Aaron. I mean, he struggled, like you said, early on, but he got better as the season went. I think with all the doubt and all the negativity around Aaron Rodgers, he needs to retire, things like that, he's getting cut by the Jets. I think he's going to come back and have I know he's 42 or 41.
Are you going to say MVP?
No, I think he's going to have a big year this year, and I hope it's in our town. That'll be
So Max is all for Aaron Rodgers coming to town, but Max, I think he's just desperate to get a guy.
Exactly.
Just anybody right now, because
exactly.
He had Minshew at quarterback. He had Aiden O'Connell at quarterback, and obviously like he knows he's not going to go as far as he wants to go if that position is not solidified. So we'll see, man. We'll see, man. It's a good conversation to have. Free agencies next week. We'll get into that. Actually, we'll see. Let's not waste any time, man. Let's just get into it. People, when the chat is going crazy. Everybody's talking about the mayor situation. For mayor, not worth it. Okay, 6th round pick is not worth it. Okay, I get it. His says mayor's the slowest player in the NFL. He's toast.
Trevor.
Man, y'all funny, man. 3rd round picks are good for most of our starts year one. Most of our starters year one.
Yeah, I guess he's agreeing with us, so we can get a 3rd round pick.
Got 3rd round pick. Okay.
Especially in this draft, like I said, it's super deep at important positions.
We the people says, dog, Aaron Rodgers needs Nathaniel Hackett and Adams. I'm not getting rid of Chip Kelly for Nathaniel Hackett. No. That's not gonna happen. We already have Chip Kelly in the building. I think the reason why Nathaniel Hackett was in the building is so Aaron Rodgers could do what he wants to do. I mean, that's the only reason why I think Nathaniel Hackett. I don't think, Nathaniel Hackett was in there, going butting heads with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers knew that he can get his way as far as making calls at the line of scrimmage and yada yada yada. And obviously you got Adams in there. Adams not coming back to. We'll get into that. Devontae, man, flag on the play, man. We gotta call it. He's official flag on the play. We've been ignoring him. He's been honorable mention, but now it's he's officially one of the biggest flags on the play.
Man.
We'll get into that. Dixon says, "Pick your poison at QB." I'm picking Oscar. Jolie's, at least if we have a rookie, they'll learn something from Rodgers. They ain't learning shit from Fields.
They ain't learning nothing from either one of them. That's the thing. They ain't not learning nothing from either one of them, bro.
Nah, man, come on, man. They're gonna learn something from Rodgers, bro. Come on,
bro.
Man.
He's not gonna learn anything.
Future Hall of Famer, they're not gonna learn nothing. They're not gonna learn nothing from a guy that's
he's not gonna teach him anything, bro. That's the point. Like, bro, like it's
Which-
like just watching somebody. That's not like that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough of a.
But that's why he has coaches, and that's why he has to take his
it's
own
different.
initiative. What?
It's different. That's why like teams teams have guys on their roster, right? Like perfect example. Like why do we bring in Jarrett Stidham that first year, right? To help teach the Raiders the offense when Josh McDaniels came over. Why do we bring in Brian Hoyer? To same thing, to help teach the new guys, help Jimmy G and Aiden O'Connell learn offense. It's different. Like no matter where you are, like your coaches, if they're looked at as differently as your peers. Something coming from your coach that's going to land differently than something coming from your teammate. Like all the time. Right, these are the guys that are going to war with you and that are in battle with you. You're going to take their opinions and their thoughts and their preparation. All this stuff is going to land differently because they're actually doing it with you. You actually see those guys doing it. A coach can teach you, but a lot of times, especially with this coaching staff, these guys came from college. Like, bro, why should I respect what you're saying about the NFL game when you're a college coach? How can you teach me anything about the NFL game, right? So it's like when you got a guy that's actually in the NFL telling you this is how to be an NFL player, like that's gonna hit differently than a guy that's a college coach. Like, oh well, this is how you play quarterback in the NFL. Like, bro, you never played it. Like, like, okay, you can teach me these techniques, but how do I apply this to the game? Like in this situation, what do I do here? Oh wait, if I'm seeing this, like how should I react to that? Like, you got a guy that's actually had those bullets flying at him and has done it at a high level, bro. You're gonna like, oh man, I'm pen and pad. Okay, for sure. Okay, and this is what you bam, like that lands differently than a coach.
See, my thing is that you're saying that like Aaron Rodgers, who most likely he's gonna come in, he's gonna be the starter. The guy's gonna be in the film room. The guy's gonna be in the QB room. You're saying that a player who, if the Raiders draft in the first round, second round, wherever they draft that young QB in, you're saying that he's not going to be able to learn from Aaron Rodgers by being in the room, seeing how he works, seeing how he prepares each and every week, and he has a QB coach, and they're going to bring him along slowly. It's not like he's starting out there and then there's a veteran in the building. I know that we would all want an Alex Smith type of situation. The perfect situation was or an example of a good situation was Kansas City Chiefs. They had Alex Smith starting at a time. Alex Smith, from what we heard, was like a great teacher,
yes,
or a great resource for a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who was able to sit his first year, and obviously the rest is history. You know what I mean? Like, there's not going to be a lot of guys out there, I mean, that are going to be available. I mean, there are guys available, but do you really want to go into week one as a starter? Alex Smith was like a 1-on-1 as far as like perfect, like bridge. Like, he's not terrible, but he's not going to be a guy that you want to, like, obviously, build a team around it so you could go make a run in the Super Bowl. Like, that's the guy that you draft, and that's a Patrick Mahomes. I don't think there's a guy that would fit that in this year's fray. And I understand, I get it, but I'm just trying to I just want the Raiders to get it. Whoever it is at quarterback, it could be any vet, it doesn't matter. But I'm kind of like, there's a side of me, I'm like, Aaron Rodgers with a chip on his shoulder would be interesting. I would want to see that.
But the thing is that, see, like, I think this brings our argument full circle that you talked about in the beginning. In terms of the Aaron Rodgers is, you're concerned with winning now. This is not a team that's going to compete for a Super Bowl. Even not even that one. If you get Aaron Rodgers 2 or 3 years, I don't think we still may not be competing for a Super Bowl. So like, what you want is a guy, you want to invest toward the future. You want to make investments toward the future now, so you can reap the rewards of those benefits later. We keep doing this thing where we like, oh, okay, win now. We're gonna win now. We're gonna win now.
Yeah, but you're saying that I'm doing that. The Raiders are. So I'm like, if the Raiders are gonna want to win now, then go get Aaron Rodgers. You don't have to break the bank. You get a guy a lot of experience who got a chip on his shoulder, sign him for a 1-year deal, still draft your QB of the future. I'm okay with that than giving like a guy like Darnold a big time contract, which we all can agree would.
Cool
exactly.
I'm cool on Darnold. But the thing about Aaron Rodgers is that you still might not win now. That's the thing. Like, there's a very high likelihood that you don't win now with Aaron Rodgers either.
True.
So it's
true.
like so like you could be burning your candle from both ends, where you made these investments to win now, you kind of disregarded winning later, and you don't win now, and now you set yourself back for winning later. So I mean, like that's why I'm against Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm against Aaron Rodgers completely.
Man, shout out to Black Sales Sports talking to Bill. He says we just got to bite the bullet and draft a rookie. No, for sure, 100%. We're not saying not to do that, but the Raiders are gonna get a veteran in free agency. It's just a matter of who. And they went after Stafford, so that should tell you how much they want to get a guy. It sounds like they want a veteran to start week 1. It doesn't sound like they want a rookie to start week 1. It sounds like they want a veteran. If they're going after Stafford, most likely they're gonna look into Darnold. Hopefully, if they get Darnold, it better be like a great contract for the Raiders, which we don't expect happening. So that's why we're like no on Darnold. Now, he did say Fields. He said Fields and Darnold, et cetera, aren't the answer, man. But, you know, it is what it is, man. That's what they're going to have.
No answers. That's the problem. It's really no answer.
Right.
That's why you got to draft the guy.
Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Even Dobbs, he said, even Dobbs look good in the Viking system. We want to pay this guy $30+ million contract. I'm praying the Vikings re-sign Darnold and take him off tape. Which, even though they didn't franchise tag him, they did say that they're going to still remain in talks, and there might be a chance that Darnold comes back to the Vikings. Which, hey, I'm good with that. As long as we don't got to pay him, shit. Like, take him off the board, yeah. Stop the Raiders from making a terrible mistake.
Giants should probably go after him.
There's no perfect QB out there that can start week 1 for us. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of options right now. But hey, the Raiders they get paid the big bucks. They got to figure that out. We have Tom Brady on the team. Don't need a vet QB as a vet QB. Carlos, man, hey. Tom Brady, the owner, I think he's not going to come back as a player, man. I think he's done, man. I think that would mess up his whole situation as an owner and a broadcaster. I think he's not trying to mess up. What? He's not trying to mess up the bag. He's getting paid. Yeah. Let's see, man. But let's move along, man. Let's move along. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But yeah, man, hey, we really didn't even get into the combine too much. I mean, a lot of the big guys, the big names kind of like passed on, really performing in the combine, I guess, because they wanted to, they wanted to have every advantage to show these scouts that they'll be successful by pretty much doing a pro day. I'm assuming, like, I know Cam Ward is going to have a pro day. I know Shador is going to have their pro day, and I'm sure other guys they're going to have their own pro day. But the running back, a lot of the top running backs, they look like they performed, which was good. I kind of like that. Was there any surprises? Any guys that you like were looking at him like, oh, okay, man, this match exactly what I thought it was, or they underperformed?
I thought Ollie Gordon, he underperformed. I thought, at one point, Ollie Gordon was like RB2. It's Ashton Jensen and Ollie Gordon. I don't think he really had a particularly good combine. Caleb Johnson is another guy. I don't think he had a particularly good combine, especially like you looked at the time speed. Quinshon Judkins, I think, he ran faster than I expected. Then we talked about it pre-show. Marion Hampton, he ran a good time as well. Travion Henderson, I still think he tested well. I still think he's faster. I think he has like a 4.43 or something like that. On tape, he looks faster than that. But his athletic scores overall, I was looking at athletic score rankings, like he was ranked the number 1 back in terms of athletic score. So Obviously he had a good day there. A guy I like is a receiver out of Stanford, Alec Ayo Minor. And he's a guy that, some of the questions about him were his speed. He's a guy that, he played against Travis Hunter, up there in Colorado, in Boulder, and he kind of gave him the business. He's one of the few receivers that kind of gave him some issues, and he ran a pretty good time as well as dude from Stanford. So he's going to be a smart guy as well. So those guys and those Stanford receivers they've been pretty successful in the league traditionally. So he's a guy that got to keep an eye on late. Obviously, the Texas guys, all those guys ran super fast. Again, a year after Xavier Worthy, blew up the combine, broke the record. He had Isaiah Bond and Golden and their running back, Jadon Blue. All those guys ran super fast. So those Texas guys are just freak athletes, man. So
man, it was a lot of running backs ran well. To be honest with you,
a lot of running backs ran well.
What do you think of DJ Giddens from Kansas State? Man, he ran a 4.43. I'm looking at here. Vertical jump 39.5, 10x10, broad jump. He had a nice little combine for himself, but let's see here. Moving along here. DJ Giddens, RJ Harvey ran well, I think.
UCF, yeah.
Devin Neal I was kind of surprised. He didn't run as fast as I thought he was going to be, man.
Yeah.
He ran he almost ran a 4.6.
Yeah. So that's what's crazy. It's crazy. Tez Johnson, another guy that kind of,
150,
just in terms of get skill position guys. It's not even looking at the quarterbacks. Like the quarterbacks, it was pretty rough for a few guys.
Yeah, but Hampton ran well. Caleb, I was surprised. Caleb didn't run as well as I thought he was going to run. He damn near ran a 4.6 as well. But he don't look like it. When you watch him play, he had a lot of big plays in college. So Amari Hampton ran well. Is that Dylan Sampson? He didn't run, so I'm guessing he's going to wait till his pro day. Genty, obviously, he's going to wait till his pro day. Is it Genty going to even run? You think he's going to run even on his pro day? Because even though they wait till the pro day, sometimes they don't even do.
Like him, he's a lock as the number one back. So
he's not going to do anything, huh?
I doubt it.
Damn, they're comparing him to LaDainian Tomlinson. Whew. Yeah, don't do that. Man, they got Genty going to the Raiders, man. I'm seeing a few mocks right now. That's a popular pick right now. Before it was
two other guys I mentioned pre-show. I forgot to bring up Jaden Higgins and Jalen Royals. Both those guys acquitted themselves really well. So I think they're gonna move up on draft boards. But it was two guys. Well, those are three receivers I talked about pre-show was the Ayo Minor, Royals, and Higgins. I think all those guys improved their stat.
Maybe a later round option for the Raiders at receiver. Dante Thornton was a combine warrior, man. He had I think he ran like a 4.3. I didn't like his vertical, but he's 6'5", had a 10-yard split of 1.51, so you can see how explosive he is. Could be a possible option later in the draft. I mean, they said this is the fastest time that a receiver that's 6'3" or taller ever has run. So last year, the last person that had that number one spot was Brian Thomas. I mean, lately these receivers have been breaking that record left and right. I think last year was by Brian Thomas. Before that was DK Metcalf. So could be a possible later round option, especially because we're talking about like getting. And the reason why I say later round option is because, look, we feel like the Raiders are going to go quarterback early, maybe, another position early outside of receiver. And then we're talking about the running backs. Sometimes you got to look at the later round options. And I think maybe this might be a guy that you could probably project, stash him, and free agency's around the corner. That's going to determine what the Raiders are obviously might be, I think I'll say like, prioritize in the draft. I mean, if they get Chris Godwin, for example, I think that's going to be a guy that the Raiders probably going to prioritize in free agency. If they get a Chris Godwin, maybe they can wait later in the draft to get a receiver instead of taking one early. because I know a lot of people like T-Mac early and Golden. Hey, are you believing the hype? Because some people are saying Golden might be the guy that might overtake T-Mac because he ran pretty well too.
No, I like Golden though. I like Golden. I think and I mean it only takes one team to do it. Like we took Darius Bay like over Michael Crabtree and Jeremy Maclin. So it only takes one team to think like, hey, he's our guy. But I would still have Tetaroa and I would still have Luther Burden over Golden. But Golden he's squarely wide receiver 3, probably in the first round. Jaden Higgins might have moved himself. If he might have moved himself up enough to early second, maybe late first round. So I'm not grabbing. I'm not taking Golden over Tetaroa.
Yeah, I mean, because I think it's because of the size. He's not really that big of a receiver. We already got like a Trey Tucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Trey Tucker, he's like the smallest of the small. Like he's just not a big receiver. I mean, like, God, short arms. I mean, you mentioned like you got short arms, so he's not the biggest receiver. So it's like,
super short arms.
You know what I mean? Like, if you get a guy, sometimes it's not even about being short. Sometimes like if you got short arms and small hands, like you're like almost like can you even play outside? I mean, it's gonna be tough for you to even be out there now on that island. So. Yeah, man. Raiders are gonna have to make a move at receiver at some point. So it might be in the draft. It might be, hopefully, maybe free agency. Maybe we can answer some of those. Because to be honest with you, we're not gonna be able to answer all of the weakness, all of the holes on the roster. I don't think they're gonna be able to like. They're gonna try their best. I mean, what can they do in free? Let's take a look at free agency. Let's let's little pivot real quick. Let's look at free agency because a free agency is going to pretty much be next week, I believe. Yeah. I think it was 10th or 11th.
10th. I think the 10th is the legal tamping period starts the 10th. I want to say.
Yeah, let's take a look at it real quick, man. Yeah, Henderson was a beast, man. Henderson was a beast for sure. Let's see. Let's take a look. So I pulled up here where they have like top players at each position. Obviously, you see Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, number 2, Fields. Russell Wilson. Look at the options, though, man. It's crazy, right? Not a lot of options.
Daniel Jones, Mac Jones. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Look at this. This is a quarterback class, free agency class. Darnold, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, who would you want the Raiders to get? Because they're going to get a veteran. They're definitely going to get a veteran. It's just a matter of who.
Yeah.
So y'all let me know, man. Let me know in the chat. Mac Jones. No, I'm just playing.
I don't think he's mobile
Please,
enough.
God,
I don't think he's mobile. No. Honestly, I can see Chip looking at Daniel Jones like I can fix him. I can see him looking at Justin Fields like I can fix him. I can see Chip doing that. Like I can make these guys work. And he's the kind of guy, for better or for worse, he's one of those guys. He kind of has that ego where he's like, yeah, you guys failed, but I'm going to succeed where you guys failed at. He's one of those guys that will take that challenge. And if Pete Carroll signs off on it, I can see them making a move for those guys. I guess Mariota as well.
Yeah, Mariota for sure.
Maybe Jameis. Jameis is really not all that mobile of a guy either. But so that's maybe a little bit more of a long shot. But I can definitely see like Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, Mariota as guys where he like, you know what, they're mobile.
Right.
And Chip has the opinion that, hey, you know what, I can make these guys work in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, are you crossing out Russell Wilson?
Probably just because of what it was reported that he wants. I think he wanted like 30 million, something like that. I think
30. If he wants
I thought that's what it was. I could be wrong on that though. No, I could be wrong. Correct
I think his stock is low right now for sure. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be able to command 30 mil.
I mean, he took a team to the playoffs though.
But 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that for sure. I'm cool with that. But like I said, I can see Aaron Rodgers working, Justin Fields, I guess the mobility. Daniel Jones, he didn't want to come to the Raiders when they came calling during the season because he was cut during the season.
Yeah.
And he did not want to go to the Raiders. He went to the Vikings. So I could see him coming back to the Vikings because especially if Darnold
leaves as a backup.
Yep. He could look at it as an opportunity for him to rejuvenate his career. Kevin O'Connell is a top offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I mean, I can see Daniel Jones, he didn't want to come to the Raiders because, Devontae up out of there. Michael Mayers, AWOL, you ain't got no running game. It's like, the coach is clearly on the hot seat. They could be fired at any time. So it's like he's probably looking at this situation like, yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm good on that. This is a completely different regime, so it could be a different result. But like I said, like Daniel Jones is not a guy that's like I'm like, oh my God, we gotta do what it takes to get Daniel Jones. But I could just see that. I could see Chip looking at those guys as like, you know what? Hey, I can make these guys work. I can make these guys work where other people couldn't.
Right. Yeah, we'll see, man. But this is the quarterback options. Like we said, free agency is next week, so we're just taking a look at some of the top players at each position. Let's go to running back. Let's go to running back real quick, man. Running back is obviously. There's a lot of depth in the draft class, but free agency is kind of lackluster again here, man. I like Aaron Jones, but he's 30 years old. He had a good season last season with the Vikings. Or was he with the Vikings? Yeah, he was with the Vikings, right? He was with the Vikings. What does he want? Does he want to get a good deal? I don't know if the Raiders should even invest in a running back, especially with the draft, with so many different running backs in the draft. I think it would be somewhere around here. You know what I mean? Like we look, Aaron Rodgers at the top of the class, J.K. Dobbins. Stay away from that injury. A lot of injuries. Even though I did like him when I see him, especially the way he was running against the Raiders. He just hurt, injury prone. Harris just I don't think is a good investment because I don't think his ceiling as a player would because he's probably gonna want a nice contract, and I don't think it's worth it.
With him, it all depends on what his contract is looking like. Like if it's reasonable, it's like
what's reasonable?
7.5, 8
a year.
Yep. I'm not.
How many years? How many years?
3.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a little too much. That's a little too much, man. That's a little too much, man. I don't know.
And know what though? Know what? It may be less than that. It may be less than that just because of how deep the running back class is.
Yeah.
So that might drive his price down. But in normal years, I think he'll get 7.5 or 8. I like Rico Dowdle too.
Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys. He's more of a speedy guy, right?
Yeah, he has some receiving ability too. I mean, he was solid. He was solid for the Cowboys, especially late in the year. He has some nice games. Nothing crazy, but he was a guy that was solid. If you just want like another guy there for depth, I think he's still pretty young too. So he also has the opportunity to grow a little bit. I can see that. Ty Johnson, I think that's the guy. Is that the guy from the Bills?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that's the guy that Josh Allen said was like the best third down back in the league, right? He's like all year. It's like this Ty Johnson got the best third down back in the league, like, bar none. Like he's singing his praises as often as he could. Maybe you want to take that guy there, maybe see what he can do in an expanded role, possibly. But he's a guy that's that's an organization that's been willing. You have the reigning NFL MVP singing your praises consistently. I mean, I think that speaks volumes.
Be honest with you, I think they should just go cheap at running back. I talked about Nick Chubb before, but then I don't know if the way his injuries are looking, I'm not sure if is he healthy? You know what I mean? Are we going to get the same Nick Chubb that we've seen earlier in his career? You get him on a cheap 1-year deal? Because in my eyes, man, it's the same. I don't want to invest too much in the running back position, especially when the draft There's so many running backs. Let's get at least 2 running backs in the draft. That's how good the NFL draft is with running back right now. There's so many different running backs, so many different ways the Raiders can go about getting a guy in the draft. I think they should take a couple in the draft. I don't think they should invest too much in free agency, but we'll see. We'll see, man.
Whoever we get, right, it should either be a 1-and-1, which is 1 year and a team option. If it's some of the higher guys, like I can see if you want to attract a guy like Najee, maybe even Javonte, it probably has to be 2 and a team option on the third. They're going to want a little bit of at least some security. So most of these guys aren't going to take like 1 or 2 year deals without some kind of security. I think a guy like Rico Dowdle, maybe. I think he may take a 1-and-1 type of deal, but some of these other guys are going to want some security. So like I say, 2 and a team option for like just about for the top guys. I think that might get it done. J.K. Dobbins may have to take less because he's been hurt all the time. Same with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's going to be J.K. and Nick Chubb are going to be 1 year prove it guys.
Alex says running back Jones will be a reasonable deal. I hope. Hey, I wouldn't be mad at getting Aaron Jones if it's a cheap deal.
He played well. He played well last year.
But I just don't think that, like, he played well last year. He's in that.
They should bring him back. I don't see why the Vikings would let him go.
Exactly. And the thing is that he's in that big that 3-0. He's 30 years old. You know what I mean? Once the running back hits that age, like, teams kind of like don't want to pay. Maybe we might be able to give him at a solid deal, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
He's for sure going to want 2 on the team. He's for sure going to want 3. 2 on the team option for sure.
How much do you think he won a year? Hey, you heard what's his name got paid? I mean, deservingly so though.
Saquon deserved to get paid though.
Yeah,
Saquon was. A lot of people thought he was the NFL MVP, so he deserved to get paid. Aaron Jones had a good year too, though. I mean, he's going to win at least. I'm saying he's 30. He may want in the 9-10 range. And, he may win in that range.
But, man.
And that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I just thought about something about not the running back, but but this is how crazy Harry Roseman is. He gave him that extension. It's the best GM in football. And it lowered his cap hit.
Oh yeah. That's what they could do though. Like that's why I was saying if we sign Max to an extension, we can do the same thing. We can lower our cap hit this year because you can spread like the money out over those other years. So you can make the cap hit super small this year, and it'll be a bigger cap hit later. And then what you do later on, like the cap is fake in the NFL because you would just at the extension this year, lower his cap number as low as you can go, and then in future years you restructure him and you just add void years to the end of his deal and just spread and just keep doing like this. The cap is fake in the NFL. You can do all kind of stuff with it. Sometimes it'll catch up with you. You'll be like the Saints. That's why you still have to be careful when you're paying guys. Like you see the Saints are like crazy. They suck and they're like super over the cap. So if you don't manage it right, properly, then it can come back to bite you in the butt. But if you have a really good cap guy, right? Like look at the Rams. The Rams were paying Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, and Matthew Stafford all at the same time, like stupid contracts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey man, look, I just wanted to show like, man, Harry Roseman, and they're interested in getting Myles Garrett too, by the way. But when you're that good and you just won a Super Bowl, you can afford to be super aggressive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got room for error. But let's move it along, man, to receiver. T. Higgins should be taken off here. I mean, it's not off, but T. Higgins was officially tagged by the Bengals, so he's off the market. Chris Godwin now becomes like the number 1 target at wide receiver, and it's not really a strong receiver class too.
Not really.
Free agency and the draft. I mean, like it's like
They got tight ends in there too. Or they put Mike Gesicki in there by accident.
Oh man, that's the desperation right there. That's just
yeah.
they're like, damn, we
We need another. We need another receiver.
We need another receiver. But look, all the receivers are like literally in their 30s, pretty much. Outside of like, Godwin is pretty much hitting right there. He's 29. Elijah Moore, if you guys remember, he was that jet receiver. They traded him to the Browns. I mean, what has he done lately? Not too much. Small receiver. A lot of people like.
School. I think. Where he went. I think was it Ole Miss. I think he went. I believe. I don't remember, but a lot of people liked him when he was coming out of the draft.
Yeah,
he ain't done nothing.
Amari Cooper is like, nah, I'm cool. Pass on that.
I'm good on all these guys, man. Maybe take a chance on Godwin, depending on what that contract looking like.
The contract look like, and then also the injury too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's kind of low key injury prone, and he got hurt last year, so the Raiders got to look into that, see what makes sense. I'm sure Spike Tech got some intel, so he's gonna know. So he's gonna know if it's gonna be well worth the investment, or if they do make a contract offer, it'll probably be something that makes sense for the Raiders.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's not a whole lot of options at wide receiver. Damn. Now this is where you could be like, the Raiders might take a receiver early.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. They're in a position to do so. They can get a T-Mac at number 6, or even trade down and get T-Mac or whoever.
Yeah.
Receiver, you name it. So, man, this is an ugly. There's only, it's crazy. Only 2 players got franchise tag. They said it's a historically weak free agency class. Only 2
crazy.
players.
This is
like 2 players. The 2 players that we wanted too. The 2 players, the T. Higgins and
one time
Trey
we
Smith.
have a whole bunch of money. Yeah. Oh, T. Higgins and Trey Smith.
Trey Smith got tagged too.
Yeah.
So that takes a big guard market, because a lot of people want to upgrade the offensive line, and Trey Smith was a guy that we talked about a lot. Yeah.
We're ready to throw a bag at Trey Smith. Yeah, it was like the one time we have cap space, it's oh yeah, that was the historically weak free agent class. That's some Raiders luck right there. Right? That is the Raiders luck.
Man, yeah, damn. I just don't want to draft I don't know why I don't want to draft the receiver early. I want to draft another position. I mean, like corner. Man, some trenches. I want to be anybody in the trenches, but receiver, I feel like we can wait. But damn. This is ugly. But let's move it along, man. Tight end, we don't care about that. I mean, you already know why. Offensive tackle.
Trade tight end. Pick one.
The Raiders are trying to trade a tight end. Offensive tackle. I seen a report, man. I think the Raiders are all in on their offensive line. I think they like what they seen from O-line, the right tackle that we got last year in the 3rd round. I'm trying to remember his name.
DJ Glaze.
DJ Glaze. I think Carroll, I think, talked about him, and he's a fan of him. So I think they're okay with their offensive line. I hope they maybe add somebody off. I would say more maybe a guard, maybe a Will Fries from the Colts. Will Fries from the Colts. I mean, Trey Smith would have been a nice target, but obviously he's off the market. He got franchise tag. The next best thing, Will Fries, but he got hurt. But he was playing well for the Colts until he got hurt. But this could be an option. Mekhi Becton played well for the Eagles. He moved from tackle to guard. But he's kind of been injury prone for most of his career outside of last year. So I don't know if that would be an option.
I think they want to bring him back. Tevin Jenkins was a guy I liked the year he came out. I think he came out the Leatherwood year. He's a guy I liked. I forgot what school he went to. But he went to the Bears, and he was hit or miss. But he's a guy. He's a mean dude, bro. He's a mean dude, physical, all that stuff. He just hasn't put it together in the league yet. But I think you get some good coaching. I think there's still some potential there to be mined.
Yeah. Just moving along real quick. Center, I think we're good there.
Yeah, we're good there.
You Tommy
Eichenberg's brother?
Liam Eichenberg.
Yeah, that's Tommy. That's Tommy's brother.
Oh, is for real? No, you playing with me?
Yeah. No, dead serious. This is his brother.
Oh, man, you gotta say last time. I gotta look that up, man. You playing with me? For us, his brother.
I'm
Get
dead serious. This is his brother.
Get out of here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm dead serious. This is his brother.
That's good. That's goofy. That's goofy. That's like
That's
saying
his brother,
Evan Brown is Tim Brown's brother.
He might be his cousin through marriage.
But defensive tackle, there are some guys. I think also got paid. He just got paid by the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So he's off of the market. Milton
crazy.
Williams, that's a target, but I don't think the Raiders are gonna. Maybe a Poona Ford.
Poona Ford, yeah, I like Poona Ford.
He has some ties with Pete Carroll. He was there with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe we might get someone that could be like a run stopper. That'd be nice. Pick up in free agency. But you mentioned too. We talked about it. Like, hey, this is a good draft for defensive tackle too. So,
yeah.
Man, this is a week. Man, this class is disgusting. But Edge, Josh Sweat. I don't think we're gonna pay any of these guys. Kuntz, man.
I don't think so. Yeah,
Kuntz is 27. I thought he was like 26, 25. Damn. Yeah, okay.
He must have just turned 27.
Hey, he's 27. Okay. Kuntz is Kuntz.
He must have just turned 27.
Yeah, definitely bring back Kuntz. We definitely got to bring back Kuntz.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, like bring him back on a 1-year deal, and then, obviously, if he's productive, we sign him long term. I won't be mad at that. I like Kuntz.
Yeah. You gotta hope he wants to take that.
Yeah. We talked about Khalil Mack. I don't think.
I'm cool on that, man.
It's just
it's not a good story, but
it'd be a good story. I would like it, but it's just not the timing. It's just not there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not there. Like we don't really need. Or I want to say we don't need him, but then he's gonna want to get paid. He's gonna want to win now. I'm not sure if the Raiders, even though Raiders are trying to win now,
they're not in a position to win now.
Yeah, realistically, that he's probably gonna want to go to like, I don't know, maybe the 49ers, maybe, or or even the Eagles. You go to the Eagles.
If they lose Josh Sweat, I can see them picking up Khalil Mack. That would be crazy.
Yeah, but they swinging for the fences, man. I heard that. They're really trying to go after Myles Garrett. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Linebacker. Now this is a position that we might have some new starters. It's possible because both starting free linebackers are free agent. Spillane could obviously come back. You can see Spillane coming back. Let's move this up. Dre Greenlaw is a free agent. Do you think he's gonna get a big time contract even with his injury history?
Hell no. If somebody gives him a big contract, bro. If somebody gives him a big contract, like, and it's not has nothing to do with his talent, bro. When he's on, he is the top 5 linebacker in the league, but bro is always hurt. He missed all of last season, came back, and in his first game back, he got hurt again. It's like, bro, he's hurt he's perpetually hurt, bro. Perpetually hurt. You can't trust him to stay healthy.
Yeah, it probably makes sense to bring back Spillane, but then who do you bring back Diablo back? I mean, who would be that guy? Because if you got Spillane and you want someone that a little bit more athletic next to him, like, I feel like someone that could.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like Sherwood. I like Sherwood. He's from the Jets, right? That's the one that stepped in for C.J. Mosley.
Did Ernest Jones? Does he have any connections to Carroll? Pete Carroll?
I don't believe so. Ernest Jones was with the Rams. He won a Super Bowl with the Rams.
Okay.
And last year he asked for a trade, or asked to leave the Rams, and they traded him to the Titans, and then the Titans traded him to the Seahawks. Before the trade deadline. But he's talented. I mean, he's been on 3 teams in less than 2 years though, so Is there some behind the scenes issues that we don't know about? But in terms of talent, he's a very talented player.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be like a vocal guy, like like one of those type dudes. But I don't know if he's butting heads with coaches or what it is. But apparently he's been on 3 teams in 2 years, so that shows you something right there.
Well, Alex says Nick Bolton want a bag for sure. Yeah, I mean, he's either Ernest Jones is 25, Nick Bolton is 25. You mentioned Sherwood, also 25. So, but everybody else is kind of
older. Yeah.
They're older. Zach Bond. How do you feel about Zach Bond? He's the guy that's like.
Oh, he about to get paid, bro. He's gonna get paid.
Yeah, he's gonna pay.
He's first team all pro linebacker. I think he got
coming off a
votes
Super
for
Bowl win
defensive
too.
player of the year. Yeah, he got votes for defensive player of the year. I want to say.
Oh, damn.
He's about to get paid, bro. He's about to get super paid.
Oh yeah.
Well, in terms of linebackers, he's gonna get paid.
Right. All right, man. Let's move it on to corner real quick. So I think the Raiders should definitely get a corner, man. They should probably looking to picking up. There's some interesting players that's available. I mean, we got Ward, Travarius Ward. I know he's 29. DJ Reed, 28. Carlton Davis. Let's see, Rasul Douglas. I mean, damn, Rasul Douglas, man. That's crazy.
We had him too. It was crazy. We had him to cut him.
The career that he had after leaving the Raiders,
bro.
Man, did he have like a pick six in the playoffs for the Packers, or was that
Rasul Douglas?
Rasul. I feel like I think he had like a.
He played well, bro. He left us and start playing well.
Yeah. Hilton might be an option for the Raiders because we don't know what's going to happen at nickel corner. There's Nate Hobbs.
Yeah, DJ Reed. I know a lot of people want DJ Reed for that same reason.
DJ Reed. You know what I mean? So we could see the Raiders probably, pick Paulson Adebo too.
Yeah.
That could be a nice little add too. He's 26 years old.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice little add too. How you feel about Asante Samuel Jr.?
He's hit or miss. He's hit or miss for me.
Man, Devontae abused him for years, man.
Abused him.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know about that, but let's move on to safety real quick, man.
Is your boy up there?
Let's see. Hufunga in the building, man. Hey, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I know he had a little injury bug lately, but he's nice, man. Yeah. I like Hufunga, but I think it makes sense to bring back Morig.
Yeah,
fits the system. I think it just makes sense for both sides to. He's gonna get paid though. Morig he's gonna get his bag for sure. And let's see, Javon Holland, Justin Reed is gonna be available. They say he's not coming back to the Chiefs, so he's gonna be available.
Yeah. Because, and that's, and they had to make that choice out of, those guys with Nick Bolton, Justin Reed. Like, they had to make a choice, and Trey Smith. So, obviously they chose Trey Smith. So, they had to know there was a possibility that somebody's going to come and poach some of these other guys. So,
yeah. I mean, hey, if they got to choose, man. They chose, obviously Trey Smith to give him that franchise tag, and they're eventually going to give him he's going to get paid. He's going to be a big-time contract. But yeah, man, that's the safety, and unfortunately, man, we can't show you the free agent kickers and punters. We're just gonna have to wait for that, man. But we appreciate it coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We have plenty of time to break down the free agency. Like we said, it's around the corner. It's gonna be pretty much next week. We're gonna be hearing deals left and right. What it's gonna look like. I mean, it's not a strong. It's really not a strong free agent class.
Nah.
You know what I mean? It's really not. I really don't want the Raiders to over. It's crazy. They have, like you said, they have a whole lot of money, but it's really not a whole lot of options. I think, in my opinion, the Raiders should probably just prioritize bringing back their own free agents. To be honest with you, there's really and it sounds like Spytek. That's pretty much his MO. Like he he's when it comes to free agency, he it's not about him spending. He has his targets, and once he gets his targets, it's pretty much a done deal. He's not going to be overspending too much in free agency. I think he likes to build through the draft, but I don't really know what other targets outside the Raiders. I mean, outside of maybe corner, they might grab a corner that's not on the team. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know if Nate Hobbs. I heard Nate Hobbs might be offered a nice deal, and the contract that I seen, I was like, nah, I don't know if the Raiders should even. I think it was like 5. It was like what's that? 2-year
30 for 3.
I'm passing on that.
I'm doing. I'll probably do it.
You do it?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
I wouldn't do it at all. I think the main reason is his injury history. Yeah. It's not the talent. It has nothing to do with talent. It's just he just can't stay healthy. And you're gonna pay him $10 million a year for not staying healthy?
And you gotta look at who you replace him with. Like a lot of people want to say DJ Reed. I think he's had a pretty spotty injury history as well. And he's gonna want at least that amount of money, possibly more. Shout out to Jeff.
Shout out to Jeff. I appreciate you coming through.
Nate is probably top 5 nickel in the league. Top 7 at the least, at the very lowest. And there's very few guys that bring his level of athleticism, of physicality. Probably one of our better tacklers, probably one of our better blitzers. All from that nickel spot at 6 foot or 6'1", well, we know however big he is, right? Like he's a for a nickel, he has a bigger build than most of those guys, so that allows him. So we put him in situations where he's doing things that like he's out there getting physically beat up because he's crashing down and really like being very, very physical in the run game. So part of the reason for that is that our linebacker play leaves much to be desired. So maybe we get some improved linebacker play. We aren't depending on our nickel corner to be such a focal point in the run game. But I just think that like what else would you get there, or who else would you get there? I guess I don't think there's not a lot of options, and for sure not gonna get anybody better.
You don't think that's just his play style? I get what you're saying. You're saying that's the scheme and what the position that they're putting him in, but you don't think he's a physical player? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's part of it too. But that's kind of you kind of need that in a nickel too. So, but you don't want to expose him to that much to that level of physicality or that level of contact all the time.
Hey, Daryl, man, appreciate you reminding me of Jared Alexander. I think he might be available. Yeah, Jair Alexander. I think he might be. Either they cut him or they trade him. I think they're going to cut him. I think they're going to release him. That's what I heard.
Jair, I don't think they're going to. Jair Alexander?
I think I seen something. I seen something where like they were they're gonna cut ties with him. I don't know what it is. Man, I found. I don't know. Anybody in the chat? I think I seen somewhere.
If they gonna cut Jair Alexander, that will be wild. Like he's
available in trade, and if that's the case, then
probably available via trade. Because if they cut him, you cut that guy. He's like a top 5 corner. You cut that. That would be stupid if they did that. We'd have to pounce on that quick. Like immediately, we'd have to be like, hey, you know what? As soon as the 10th hit, like, yo, bro, we got a bag over here for you. Where you want us to park this Brinks truck? But problem with him, the Jair Alexander, he has a kind of spotty health history too, and he kind of, he's kind of a hothead as well. So that's probably why they're considering trading him, because generally those guys, you get a guy at his caliber, they aren't available.
Look, so this was NFL rumors, for what it's worth. Many people around the league believe that the Packers will release Jair Alexander instead of trading him. A release would save Green Bay $17 million in cap space.
It's crazy.
So
crazy.
Let me see. How old is Jair Alexander? I mean, shit, it do cover his ass off, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he lost a step.
28, so I would think maybe 28 in that range.
Let's see. Yeah, he's 28.
Because
28.
Because
Hey, man.
Marshawn Lattimore is only 29.
Hey, Raiders got. Hey, if the Raiders gonna pay, that's a nice little. Give him a nice little 2-3 year deal.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
You know, but obviously he comes with the injury history though, and then we just talked about like not paying Nate Hobbs and Dre Greenlaw. You know what I mean? Because of their injury history.
Dre Greenlaw, that's his injury history is exponentially worse than like anybody. Like Dre Greenlaw ain't. Dre Greenlaw is the Anthony Davis of linebackers, right? That fool is just hurt all the time.
Yeah, he's available. See, look, he's available. Okay, all right. I mean, that could be an option. Raiders do need they're gonna need some depth in that room, and I think do we have a number one corner in our roster? I don't know, man. I don't know. Jacorian Bennett, we don't know.
Hope is Jacorian Bennett, but
yeah. We don't know, man. But hey, man, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let's move it along real quick, man. Hey, it's that time, man. Flag on the play.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Let's roll through this real quick, man. The first flag on the play is recently. I guess Jim Harbaugh is just, feeling good after his first season as a head coach for the Los San Diego Chargers. And man, he had a crazy quote. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. And what he said here, this is his words, not mine. He says, "No doubt in my mind that Justin Herbert is not only one of the great quarterbacks in the NFL today, but truly one of the great quarterbacks of all time. Herbert has never even won a playoff game." We're just going to have to give...
Hell no to the no. Hell to the...
I don't know what Jim Harbaugh is smoking, but I see what he's trying to do. I think he's just trying to hype up his quarterback. Obviously, he's trying to give him a lot of confidence and hype him up. But come on, man, these types of quotes. Do you think he'll lose the locker room off these types of quotes? I mean, you over here talking about he's the greatest quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and come on, bro. Like this is definitely a flag on the play. You can even question, is Herbert even a top 10 quarterback? You can argue that. Like, just based off like other quarterbacks having more success, definitely more playoff success than Justin Herbert. I mean, what's your take on Harbaugh trying to hype up Justin Herbert? I don't know who's he talking to. Like, this is crazy. Like, he didn't call him a great NFL quarterback. He said one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's disrespectful.
That is mad disrespectful. I don't know. I mean, I know he was having some issues with his hip. I don't know if he had hip surgery or something like that. I don't know if he's off some perks, off them painkillers from that hip surgery, or what's going on, man. But he is clearly that dude sniffing glue. I don't know. If you having them Sharpies, bro. I don't know if the Sharpies is too close to his nose. It's leaking into. I don't know what's going on, man. Because,
I think it was after hip surgery. I think it was after hip surgery, and he was probably just coming back from consciousness, and then they put a mic in front of him and was like, he just said, we'll give him benefit of the doubt. Like he didn't really mean it. He didn't really mean it, but still, it's still flag on a play just because he uttered the words. So we got to call it like we see it, man. Flag on a play. Justin Herbert is not one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Not even close. Talented? Is he talented? Yeah, for sure. I'm not disagreeing that, but this is flag on a play. We had to call it, man. And we hate the Chargers, so we had to, we just had to throw it in their face real quick. But we're not done yet, man. We got more flags on the play.
Trash, by the way, too. That polo just looks hella trash. I don't know why it looks. That polo just looks trash. Like
we
they
said
colors is
yeah,
weak.
yeah, it's trash, man. But that we're not done. We're not done, man. And so you obviously the combine happened. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the quarterbacks. That's funny. We didn't really talk about the quarterbacks. But probably because the top two quarterbacks didn't really throw. So it was a lot of the guys that were going to be taken later in the draft or some early. I mean, Jackson Dart had a really good combine throwing the football. Tyler shout out to ECG, man. He kind of put us on early on him. He had a nice combine as well. But one of the guys that didn't throw was Shedeur Sanders. And it was reported that when he talked to teams, because he was there to interview with certain, even though he didn't participate in the drills, he was there to talk to teams. And you know what? It was interesting. She said it was one of the teams in the top 7. I was like, top 7? Why would you say top 7?
Yeah.
So that tells me that it was one of those teams, two of the teams that had these comments about Shedeur Sanders. One of them was number 7.
It's a quarterback needy team. Yeah, it's a quarterback needy team. So I mean,
it's the Jets picked number 7 too, by the way.
Yeah, Jets picked number 7. We picked 6, so it could be.
Yeah, that's true. It could have been the Raiders, but I don't know, man. It's shout out to Smoke, man. He said it earlier in the show, and I thought about it when I was just peeping the whole situation. I'm like, is he? I think he might be doing this on purpose. He might be doing this on purpose so then he can go to the team that he wants to go because, we hear Dion, his dad, say that some teams are off limits.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you even say that? How do you make certain teams that are going to be picking early off limits? Like, how do you even do that? Maybe this is how you do it, but what we're talking about is Hosina Henderson. I think she was the one that was like first on it. And she talked about, Shedeur Sanders and how he interviewed and certain, there are a couple of people in certain teams, I guess, talked about Shedeur Sanders in a negative way as far as him, not being a culture fit and kind of coming off arrogant and brash. We gotta call it, man. It's flag on a play, but then. On the other side to it, I'm looking at it from Shedeur's perspective. I'm like, man, he probably did it on purpose. He probably can't. Why was it just 2 teams? Why was it? Why was it more than 2 teams? Why was it the other teams? It was just 2 specific teams that felt this way. That had people in the building say that, we felt like he didn't care about what we thought, during the interview process. I mean, it just felt like they're personally attacking, Shedeur, especially Shedeur, who, he's a top quarterback prospect in this draft, and I think they're purposely trying to attack him to maybe lower his draft stock too, so they can get him.
Possibly, that would be that could be some Raiders. Because what Josina said, she talked about one team in particular, and she talked about one team in particular where it was like, you know what, hey, like they like kind of went above and beyond in their criticism, and it seemed malicious. And it seemed like there were some other undertones there where, it wasn't just, hey, I'm not evaluating the player, I'm evaluating something else. So that's what I kind of took from it. And I think people were asking them, well, why does she just name the team? Because like the team knows who they are. Why don't you just name the team? And she's like, I don't have to name them. They're, that they know who they are, and it should be something that's handled internally. I know a lot of people thought it was the Jets. It could be the Jets, but I look at Aaron Glenn. I looked at their offensive coordinator, young guy, Erkstrand. And then their QB coach, Charles London. He was with the Seahawks last year with Geno Smith. So is it the Jets? And then I look at us. We got Greg Olsen. It's like okay, you got a team that's in the top 7 that doesn't like these new age quarterbacks. Who was Greg Olsen with? Super Christian Derek Carr, Mr. Conservative, Captain, Captain Conservative, that's a guy he gravitates toward, the guy he had a relationship with. he sees a younger guy, a little bit brash. Like, okay, maybe he's putting stuff out there, like you said. Maybe he's trying to tank his stock so he gets to the Raiders. But the fact that it got back to Josina, and that she kind of held some feet to the fire. They said the organization was going to handle it internally. So I don't know.
Or it could be
but
the
they said it was
Browns.
a quarterback needy team.
Or it
Could be the Browns. I don't know what their coaching staff looks like, but I don't think it was the Jets. Like when I look at the Jets, because
Stefanski was Ken Dorsey the QB coach last year?
Ken Dorsey was he the QB coach last year?
Let me see. Browns QB coach.
Maybe Stefanski, but they went all in on Deshaun Watson though. So it's like, like I don't know. Dayball, he comes from the Patriots organization. Maybe, the guys up there with the Giants, they like guys more, hey, you know what, for business, not anything outside of football. Like you just ball all day 24/7. If you have any other interests outside of that, they kind of don't like that. Maybe it's the Giants. But I don't see how that would apply to the
Bill Musgrave is the quarterback's coach. If y'all don't know who Bill Musgrave is, man, it's a blast from the past, man.
He's an old school guy. I can see that. Bill Musgrave, old school guy, older guy. I can see that. Like I don't like these new quarterbacks. They worry about themselves, or I can see that. I can see that. I can see that because they said it was a Q. I think Josina said it was a QB coach that made the comments.
Damn. The thing is, though, look, it's basically out of the Raiders, the Jets, because she said top 7. Raiders, Jets, Titans, and Giants.
Yeah.
And the Browns. And the Browns.
Yeah. That's a lot of the top 7. That's more than half the top 7. They could be either one of those teams. Yeah, I can see Bill Musgrave. He's like I said, older guy. He's not one for he's like old school. I can see that.
Reportedly, the Raiders like Jalen Milroe and Quinn Ewers during the.
I can see that. But Jalen Milroe's always been like super. Jalen Milroe's all the ball. Like he's like everybody said he's going to interview extremely well. Like interview process, he's going to knock out of the park. Like that's his thing. He's super hard worker. Like great interview, great kid. Like Rich Eisen talks about him all the time. Like how much he loved interviewing them. And so he's going to do well in interviews. I heard the Raiders were impressed with him like on a whiteboard from what they said.
Where would you take a Jalen Milroe? The earliest
to school to learn to throw. I'm not touching Jalen. I'm not touching Jalen Milroe.
Not even the third round. The third round.
Because we have 2 third-round picks.
He does have elite traits. He does have like elite traits though.
Because we have 2 third-round picks. Because he's such a hard worker, high character guy. He does have some elite traits. You hope with coaching, and he's not like an Anthony Richardson where he didn't spend a lot of time in school. I think he's a senior. So like Anthony Richardson was like super young guy. I think like Jalen Milroe has been in school for a while, so he's been there for a little while. So he has some experience, a little bit more maturity. As I said, he's super hard worker. Great leadership, great personality. So all those things, all the intangible things that you would hope to be able to marry with the traits in order to turn a guy into a good quarterback is there. But some guys just have it and some guys just don't, and that's the risk you're taking. Now with a 3rd round pick, that risk is mitigated some because it's only a 3rd round. We have 2 3rd rounds this year, but you could be passing on potentially a top 5 rusher for Jalen Milroe, and maybe you convert Milroe to running back. I've heard that was an option. Some teams thought like, hey, you know what, this guy doesn't work at quarterback, we will try to convert him to running back, and he does have the traits to be a very good running back. So maybe that's the situation there where you do that, but I don't know.
I want to hear your thoughts, though, man. We'll talk about it after the show, man. But your guy Waldman, he likes Milroe.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
like
talk
I
about
said,
the show. But man, Jeff says Sanders is tanking his draft status like some of our fans wanted to do this past season. Yeah, I you know what? Like I think he purposely, because it wasn't like every team that he interviewed with said that. It was just specific teams.
Two.
So I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's two teams.
and I just remember the comments that Dion said. I always thought about it. I was like there are certain teams that are off limits. Like he will not go.
Yeah.
I'll let him know. I got connections out, and I'm sure he probably told his son like, we go in there, just act a fool. I'm not saying he told him to act a fool, but I'm just saying like it would make sense if it's a team like the Jets or the Browns or whatever team that you fill in the blank is not a good situation. He feels like it's a good situation. He's not going to take it too serious because he doesn't want to go there. And maybe like someone in this chat said, like maybe he's trying to get to number 6. You know, Smoke says he's trying to get to number 6. Smoke says the latest draft had him Shadir going to Steelers at 21. Which
I saw
crazy.
that. I think that was Lance Zierlein. I think that was Lance Zierlein. They had. Was it the Steelers? Or was it the Browns? Was it the Steelers? I saw one where they had the Browns getting Trav and then trading back into the first round to get.
I seen a draft. I seen a mock draft where the Browns got him like later in the draft, like probably like 21 or something like that. Or
I saw.
So I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was Steelers. I'm not sure it was Steelers.
It wasn't the Steelers. It wasn't the Steelers. It wasn't the Steelers. That one wasn't the Steelers. I think there wasn't one where I saw with the Steelers. He went, This one, who did they trade up with? They traded with the Commanders, I think. I think they traded with the Commanders to take him, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I mean, so some people have his stock sliding. I mean, I don't see why he would do it with the Jets, just unless he thought the Jets would trade up for him, or he just was sure that we're going to pass on him. Because if he's confident he's going to get to us at 6, then why even do that to the Jets? It didn't make, unless they're like, hey, we're considering trading up for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's between us, the Giants, and the Browns. It's probably the Giants and the Browns because maybe he wants to get to us at 6.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah. Well, let's move it along, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Appreciate everybody coming through. People talking. Anthony G says Milroe has elite arm strength and athleticism, probably the best in class at QB. He's worth the 3rd round. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got elite traits. They can bet on that. I just can't do it in 2nd and 1st because you can't throw.
Yeah.
you can't accurately pass the football. Like it's too risky, man. Look at the Colts, man. Anthony Richardson right now, like it's just he might not be the starter going into his 3rd season. They're gonna bring in competition.
That's crazy.
So it's like man, and they spent like a top 5 pick on him. So a guy like Milroe, 3rd round would be perfect. If the Raiders had to wait till the 3rd to pick a quarterback. But yeah, man, let's move it along, man. Let's get to notable quotables. It's this time, man, where we get into like certain quotes that we felt like that were interesting that we want to bring to y'all, man, and so we can talk about. And the first quote, I think, is by Daniel Jeremiah. And his take on how he views the running back position, how teams should go about getting a running back. And it made a whole lot of sense, man. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip real quick. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But here we go, man. Daniel Jeremiah.
In my take on running backs, and I'll get the CD on this one. I just want, if you're going to invest in, let's talk about the draft here. If you're going to invest a high pick in a running back, let's shift the conversation. I want all of his carries to matter. In other words, I want to have the team built up, and then when I insert him, knowing I've got a 5 to 8 year window here, I want all those carries to matter. If I'm a terrible team and I take a running back, I'm going to waste 3 years of carries on him, and then I'm not going to have enough when my team's ready for him.
Whew. Man, facts. Man, facts. 100%. I 100% agree with that. And that's why we keep saying that taking a running back early, meaning in the 1st round, it's a luxury pick.
Yes.
You can see how it benefited a team like the Lions because they're winning. They're ready to win now. But the Raiders, I see all these mock drafts with them getting Genty, which I understand is a talented running back. I kind of bought into it, especially during this college season. But like looking at this draft class, it's like, man, this is the worst time to get a running back like Genty. Like there's too many running backs. There's too many backs. Like there's so many backs that ran like 4.3, 4.4, like 220. Like you got all different flavors. Every different type of styles of running back. You got it. You name it, they got it. And it just doesn't make any sense. And I thought, Daniel Jeremiah broke it down like beautifully. Like if you're a bad team, you're gonna waste the first few years of him running that football because we all know the running back's career is not gonna be that long. It's gonna be about 8 years. You know what I mean? 8 to 10 years. I mean, and that's a good career. It's a great career for running back. The average NFL career is like less than 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now you put in a running back. It's
running back is probably shorter than that.
Exactly. So I thought it was a great quote. I mean, what was your take on Daniel Jeremiah?
Yeah, man, I think that's what I think this is something we've talked about for a long time, right? Like that's why a guy like Saquon can leave the Giants and go to the Eagles, and like he's MVP candidate and a Super Bowl winner. That's why a guy like Josh Jacobs can go from us having a terrible year and go to a team like the Packers, with a great offensive line, great play caller, a QB1 and some weapons on the outside, have a good year. Those teams, they can afford to invest resources, whether that be, a lot of salary cap space or whether that be high first round picks on running backs. We're not in that position to do that, right? Running back is not one of those core positions that you need. Like generally offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, some people say corner. But generally those are positions you want to invest highly in, early in the draft. You don't want to do that with running back. And I don't think Genty, he's a great player, but how much better is he than the backs in the second and third rounds compared to whatever other positions that we may take in the first round, right? Like, is the gap between him and TreVeyon Henderson or him and, Caleb Johnson or Dylan Sampson, is just so great? Is it greater than the gap between, a Will Johnson and whoever a third round corner is? Or is it greater than the gap between a Mason Graham and whoever the third round defensive tackle is? Like, that's something you have to weigh and evaluate. Also, the value of the position as well, right? Running back it's a devalued position around the league. We see what Saquon was able to do, and people are like, "Oh, running backs are making the comeback." No, not really, right? It's like Saquon is Saquon is Saquon. He was one of the greatest prospects to ever, come into the NFL draft, right? So like that's a special case. But most of the times, a lot of these teams are able to find these productive backs later on. And even Saquon, he didn't do that for the team that drafted him. He essentially is the exact case that Daniel Jeremiah was talking about, right? That he wasted his career early on with the Giants, being ran into the ground, and they couldn't do anything with him. Then he leaves and goes to a team that it was set and built correctly, and what happens? They win. So, like the people are going to point to Saquon and say, "Look, because Saquon." But actually, that's making the point that Daniel Jeremiah was saying, that you don't get that running back until you're ready and you have all those other pieces in place.
Name a running back on a bad NFL team in history, like that, like a great running back.
A great running back on a bad NFL team.
Name. Oh, wow. You know what? That's I could give you like at least.
I guess you think about what's my guy, Corey Dillon with the Bengals.
Corey Dillon. Okay. You can say Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders for sure.
Sanders.
Yeah, Corey Dillon with the Bengals.
Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson was a
Fred
monster.
Taylor. Fred Taylor with the Jags. But they kind of won. They won a little bit. But Fred Taylor with the Jags. Corey Dillon is the first one that comes to mind though, because them Bengals teams were trash. Achilles Smith, trash.
Nah, man. I always had a lot of respect for Steven Jackson, bro. His game, like I thought he was a great running back, but he just was on a terrible, terrible Rams team. That was after the, Greater Show on turf. Like literally after that whole situation, I think. Yeah. It was the Rams had some dark years for sure, and then eventually they ended up moving. They ended up moving to LA, but yeah, I agree 100%, man. It's all about value at the end of the day. You want to get a running back and get the most out of them, especially because they don't have a super long career. So if you're taking one early, like it doesn't really make sense to take one unless you're ready to win. I'm looking at like I'm just looking at like the top 10 teams right here. I think Genty would be a nice fit for Chicago, maybe. Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because they're on an upward trend. Like they got pieces in place, but they just got to put it together. And you already know that like Ben Johnson likes to run the football. So like he literally I seen something the other day saying that Ben Johnson was literally the reason why Gibbs got drafted. Like he was like banging he wanted to get him in it because that's his system is basically built off play action and run the football. So so getting Genty in Chicago would be crazy, but outside of that, Carolina, they're still, I don't know what, like I like Bryce Young but I don't know, their defense seems like pretty solid. But Carolina's not a really good team. New Orleans, we all know. Hey, look, Jets, nah. Jets already got running back. Obviously, Raiders. We got too many holes.
Carolina just paid Chuba Hubbard, so they're not there. The Saints, maybe, if they want to get rid of Alvin Kamara. But like that would be too early for the Saints to do. If they take a running back, that'd be wild.
Saquon, what Saquon got? Was he drafted in the top 5?
For sure. I want to say, I think so. He drafted, maybe number 3 overall.
Damn.
I think number 3.
You know how good you got to be drafted at running back number 3 in today's NFL? Like he was drafted. I think it was
number 3 overall. But he was like a Bijan, where he was considered the best player in that draft.
Yeah, but Bijan went number 9 though. He went like 10.
Oh, but Saquon was better than Bijan.
Yeah, he was a monster with Penn State. He was just dominating. Let me see. What year did he get drafted? Let me see. I'm trying to look.
2018, 2019, I think. 2018 or 2019.
Yeah, 2018. Oh, okay. So he's been in the league for 6 years. All right. Yeah. We'll see. Boy, hey, we're not done yet, man. We got another notable quotable. And this one, I guess we kind of skipped over it. It was supposed to be Max Crosby, but we played it earlier because we're talking about obviously flag on the play. We forgot about this. It doesn't really matter, but at this point, Devontae, he gets cut.
Oh man. Jeff said Saquon was picked 2 in 2018. So the second.
Damn, that's crazy. That's how talented he was, bro. Because even in 2018, like the running back position was not. This is the era of this is a passing era, like passing league, like. Yeah, it's crazy. I think Saquon is helping teams kind of visit the value of a running back, but it's still like you don't take him. I don't think you're going to take him that early. But number 2, crazy. Whew. That's crazy, man. But yeah, man, Devontae Adams officially gets cut by the New York Jets. Which makes the Raiders trade even better. Shout out to Telesco, even though he's not the GM no more for the Raiders, but that was a great move by him. Shrewd move, like to able to get like a 3rd round pick for a guy that literally is on his way out. He didn't even last he's not even coming back a second. if he were to come back, they still would have redid his deal because there's no way they're going to pay him like
that money was crazy. It's like 32 million or something like that.
Yeah,
against the cap.
It's wild, man. And obviously the Raiders need a receiver. He's not going to be on the board. They're not going to pick him up. I mean, where is he going to go? Where do you see Devontae going? Is he going to go where his boy is at? Aaron Rodgers, wherever Aaron Rodgers
that's
goes?
what I see. That's what I see. Unless it's here, unless Aaron Rodgers comes here, then he won't come. But look, he might even do he might do it, bro. If Aaron Rodgers comes here, he might try to say, "Oh, you know what? I don't like how I left him bad." Like he might try to do some stuff like that, bro. But nah, we got to say the nay no. We got to say the nay no, bro. We cannot allow Aaron Rodgers and Devontae to be here. Like that will be a complete shit show. Bro, be in team meetings, like playing paper airplanes and passing notes. Like it's like, bro, like I don't want that. I don't want that problem over here, man. Like just I don't want either one of them here. Devontae can go. Like if he was smart, he would go to the Ravens. If he was smart, I would try to go. If he try to go to the Ravens, that would be a good look for him.
I thought Commanders would have been nice, but they
picked
just traded
Debo though.
But Debo. Oh, you know what? That's another honorable mention that we didn't like. I think I sent it to you, but it was like a while back though. Debo saying that he feels that he's a number one receiver and he needs to get paid. I'm like, dude, like you're not. You're just you're a weapon for sure. But like, man, there's memes right now going on Debo like him being out of shape and stuff like that. I think he showed up to like the Eagles Super Bowl. He looked like, man, he was looking crazy, man. But
look crazy.
What
they trade for? A fifth? Was it a fifth? It was a fifth for him?
Fifth round pick.
Yeah.
And you get why they traded for him because Adam Peters used to be in the 49ers building, so I'm sure like he's like, all right, let's get him in the building. But hey, you never know. It might not stop them from getting Devontae Adams. Yeah. I think it would make sense, but you heard Devontae, he was joking, but jokes are sometimes loosely based off the truth. Like he didn't want to he didn't want to change his number because I guess
that was so stupid, bro. I hope it was 100%. I know you said there's some truth in jest. I hope that was 100% jokes, bro. Because that would just show you the kind of dude he is, bro.
Yeah, I heard there's so many rumors that Devontae might go to the Chargers. There's a chance he might go to the Chargers. There's chances that he might go to you mentioned the Ravens, but I'm thinking like hopefully he don't go to the Chiefs. If you go to the Chiefs, man.
The Chiefs, they losing DeAndre.
Oh, if he goes to the Chiefs, man. Oh my God, I'd be like, he'd be the most hated player by Raider Nation like of all time, man, for sure. But I think it sounds like he want to go to the West Coast. If he can't play with his boy Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna go to a West Coast team, and at that point you gotta start thinking like, all right, the 49ers, Chargers, I can see the 49ers. See the 49ers too.
Paid, but he ain't gonna get his chip though. His chips, because they just paid Ayuk.
What would he get? What would Devontae Adams get in the open market?
I don't know, because Devontae has a very high opinion of himself, so he's not going take no BS deal.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll see, man. But hey, we're not done with notable quotables. I thought Sean Payton had a nice quote where he talked about like his pre-draft process on how he identified like the quarterback. This was last year when they came to the conclusion that they wanted to draft Bo Nix. FYI, Severe doesn't agree. he doesn't agree, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and y'all let me know.
Did you know then that Bo Nix was the guy?
We didn't at that time. I would say that decision probably was finalized, or we felt real strong. Wasn't just he had a pro day on Friday, and then Saturday we had a private workout. And I think that Saturday after this private workout, we felt like that was our target. At this point in time, we didn't, and he really didn't throw well.
Is that right?
Yeah,
You remember?
Meaning, well, here are a couple things I can recall. So, for years in our league, the footballs were never broken in; they come right out of the box. And that's a challenge for a college quarterback. I mean, they're slippery; they're not broken in, and then you get in here, the temperature maybe is a little cooler than you think. It's air conditioned, and so learning all of those things, getting adjusted to that. Don Yee's obviously an agent that I've worked with throughout my career, and he had this young quarterback, Tom Brady, and he asked me, can you call Tom and just tell him what to expect at the combine? And this was like a favor. Yeah. And there was the prep that they have now is so much different than just 20 years ago. And the understanding of what's to be expected, how to handle the interviews, how to handle the medical part of it, how to handle these drills. I've seen players that have bad ball skills that are outstanding through the gauntlet, and they've just worked on it so much. So, again, it comes back to the medical information. That's most important, and then the interview.
All right. Congrats. Another playoff season, and we'll see what happens.
No playoff season. But I will say, though, when he mentioned reaching out to Tom Brady through his former agent, hopefully that's never gonna happen again, because you already know, man. Tom Brady's in the Raiders building, man. Can't talk with the enemy, man. Can't affiliate with the enemy. Exactly. But I think it's interesting, man. I think that like the way he talked about how like they understand that the conditions are not favorable to the quarterbacks when they bring him in the combine. Obviously, the temperature and the footballs are not broken in and yada yada. Obviously, they're not familiar with the receivers too as well. So there's another layer to that. I know, like. You were talking about, we talked about this behind the scene, we didn't talk about during the show, but Dylan Gabriel and Jalen Milroe had like a tough day throwing. Even you could throw in Will Howard in there too as well.
Will Howard, all three of them were bad, like historically bad.
But I mean, what was your take, man, from what Sean Payton's saying? Do you agree, like that teams go through that process, or do they know early on like who they want, or they have to go through that process of elimination and like get to the point where they work them out and then they make their decision? Especially a guy like Sean Payton. I know you argued, we talked about this earlier, where like, was he telling the truth? I mean, because everybody was kind of pointing the dot. They're all connecting the dots with Bo Nix and Sean Payton.
Yeah, exactly. Like the entire draft community knew that Bo Nix was a perfect fit for Sean Payton's offense, except Sean Payton. Somehow, like really, like right. All the guys you have in your building, none of them could like, oh, Bo Nix fits your system perfectly. He's a mature quarterback that started a bunch of years. He can come in and play immediately. You want to move off from Russell Wilson. If you want to move off from Russell Wilson, you need a guy that's a little bit more mature that fits your system. Like, wow, it just happens to be that Bo Nix fits all these criteria. I think they knew Bo Nix, and I think they had him targeted. And maybe they hadn't made a decision like, oh, for sure, this is our guy. But when you're picking at, what are you picking at? 10th or 11th? Like when you're picking at that position, like you can't really, for sure, zero in on one guy unless you're prepared to trade up. So,
hold on, I'm
10th, right? 11th? It was 11th?
I thought they were picking it. Weren't they picking ahead of us? A pick ahead of us?
They were picking ahead of us. Yeah. Was it one pick ahead of us, or was it multiple pick ahead? I don't remember. But they were picking, I believe, outside the top 10, or at 10. So, like, a lot of decisions in front of them were going to be made regardless. So, like, I'm sure, like, they had players on their board that they identified as better quarterbacks than him. I'm sure they probably had Jaden Daniels is higher. I'm sure they had Caleb Williams. There's a possibility they had Michael Penix higher. Possibility Drake May, it's possibly they had all these guys above Bo Nix. But they knew that realistically, this is one of the guys we'll have a chance at getting. And that's why, even after the combine, they still brought him in for a 30 visit, and they still had a private workout with him because they had identified, like, this is a guy that fits all the criteria we need. Remember he told that BS story? Like, yeah, I told people I wasn't going to take him, so the Raiders wouldn't trade up. And then I took like, come on, dog. Like now, I don't believe he's doing it all, bro. He's just a BS artist, in my opinion. I don't believe anything he says.
Right. So they picked Knicks 12th overall. They picked ahead of us. I remember that. They picked ahead of us.
Okay.
So
pick ahead of.
Yeah. I get you with Sean Payton. And I remember him saying like, "Oh, how he outsmarted the Raiders from getting Bo Nix," but like no one cared. Like no one cared that. I mean, I'm not. Yeah. There's no. Obviously, Bo Nix had a solid rookie season. Yeah. But like, we were worried about like Penix. Like it's not like we're like. I think everybody was thinking about Penix to the Raiders more than Bo Nix to the Raiders. I don't think anybody was connecting the dots there. But if that was the case, then okay, I guess, hey, all power to Sean Payton, man. He got his guy. But
and look, we tried to trade up for Penix, and we couldn't get it done. Like we didn't again. Like we couldn't get Penix. Let's try to trade up and get JJ McCarthy or Bo Nix. Like once Penix was off the board, we was like, oh damn, we just gonna stick and pick then. And we got lucky and we got one of the better players in the draft.
Yeah, man. Well, let's move it along real quick, man. Let's get to what's real, what's not. This is where I say statement. You guys let me know if it's real or not. And I'll start by with the first statement here. The Raiders will trade up to the number 1 pick to draft Cam Ward. Is that real or is it not? The Raiders will trade up to the number 1 pick to draft Cam Ward. Is that real or is it not? Yeah, man. I'll just start off by saying I don't think this is real. Just because we just had, if y'all watched the last episode of Around the Shield, man, we tried to trade up. I know it's a mock simulator, but mock simulators to give you clues on how hard it is to trade up and to draft certain players. Yeah. And we tried to trade up to number 1 pick, and they did not accept not one. We gave them the entire draft. There was a moment in time where we were tired of like giving them
every single pick.
We traded every single pick in the first round just to see like, is this going to go through? And it didn't go through. So, which to tell you is what that tells you is that if a team is set on picking the player they want, and in this case Tennessee, who I'm not gonna lie, I don't think they have their quarterback of the future on their roster. Will Levis did not prove to the Tennessee Titans that he's the quarterback of the future last season. It was a disaster, it seemed like. And the guy that's the head coach of that team did not draft Will Levis. So it's not like that was his guy. So I'm sure he's probably going to want to get his quarterback in there. You know what I mean? Before he, you know how it works. You got to get his guy. That's going to be his whole thing. And I say that to say I just don't think it's going to be possible for the Raiders to trade up to number 1. I hear rumors. I see the rumors. I see rumors saying that the Raiders are inquiring and they're trying to see what it takes. But then there's competition. The Jets are looking into trading to number 1. The Giants. I think the Giants have a way better shot just because they're like what 2 spots away, 1 spot away.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure Tennessee would be more inclined to go to number 3 than going all the way to number 6 because they can get trade compensation and only drop like 1 or 2 spots and get a like blue chip player, like like a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter,
possibly Abdul Carter, yeah.
Whatever. So I don't think it's real. Man.
And if they like Shador is probably still here too.
Yeah. No facts. What's your take, man? Do you think it's real or is it not?
Nah, it's not real, man. I don't even think that, Spy Tech, like, the one thing that I can't see Spy Tech doing in his very first draft as the Raiders GM, and a draft that's pretty deep, at some of the positions that we need, is trading up, using those assets, giving him less opportunity to build a team full of his guys for a quarterback, especially when it's going to be extremely expensive to trade up. We all know that if a franchise quarterback or a potential franchise quarterback is on the board, that drives the price up higher. So just by virtue of, Shador and Cam both being on the board there, that makes the pick exponentially more valuable. That means they're going to try to extort as much out of us as they can. And I just don't think we have the inclination to even give up that much to move up from one of those guys, as much as we may like him or not.
We tried also to give them both 25, 26 draft. I'm telling you, man, like
and give them the entire 2025 fantasy draft, and they said no. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Especially when it's a quarterback. When it's a quarterback, because I know last year we all talked about like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
I think it's a similar situation. I know he got pick number 2, but like if a team is set and picking a player, there's no deal that you can give them for them to change their mind. Like there's nothing, like they have their player, especially quarterback. That's the most important position on the football field. So if it was any other position, maybe they'd be like, you know what, hey, we could make sense of this if we're getting the next 15 draft first round picks. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah, we tried. We gave, well, you know, if you asked Adam Schefter, we didn't. But
so teams can't give you like is that just a mock thing, or teams teams can give you like future first round picks, right? In the
yeah, they can give you future first round. I forgot how many, but they can give you future first round picks.
Because I know the NBA does that left and right. They do that with ease. Like they don't care about them, especially the Lakers. They don't care about
the NBA puts a limit on how far you can go out. So right now, like the Lakers can't, like the furthest out the Lakers can trade a first round pick is 2030 or 2031. And also in the NBA, you can't trade your own first round pick 2 years in a row. I forgot what's the name of the rule. It's actually, the rule is actually named after this GM because he was just stupid and was just like trading like other first round. I forgot the name of the rule, but they named it after this dude. I think he was a GM for the Nets? For the Nets? It might have been for the Nets, but he was just trading all their first round pick. Damn, what's the name of the rule? But yeah, but essentially you can't trade your first round pick 2 consecutive years in the NBA. So you can, like, how you can get around it is if you can trade a guy, or like during a draft, you can draft a guy and then trade the player. So the team will tell you, oh, you know what, if this guy's on the board, draft him and then trade him to us with your first round pick, and like they'll do it like that. There's ways to get around it, but I don't know if or what limitations the NFL has on trading first round picks. Oh yeah, but it's the Stepien. I think it was Bill Stepien. Yeah, the Stepien rule.
Stepien rule. Okay. Jeff says I think up to 3 years. Okay. Stepien rule. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Hey, look, man. We'll see how it shakes out, man. Hey, look. I would love to get Cam Ward, but it just seems like, I think after this combine, it just seemed like the word is out that he's pretty much the number 1 overall QB on everybody's draft board, and I don't think it's close. I mean, there's a big drop off after. This is not the same draft that it was last year, where there were so many different quarterback options.
Exactly.
It's Cam Ward and then everybody else, and of course, and some people. So there's some people who don't value Cam Ward as much. There's other quarterbacks, like there's the Tyler Shicks and the obviously different quarterbacks that they're available in this draft. But we'll see. But let's move it along to the second notable quotable. And this one here is the majority of the starts at QB will come from a free agent veteran and someone on the roster, and not someone from the draft. Is this real or not? So I'm going to repeat it again. The majority of the starts at QB will come from a free agent veteran and someone on the roster, and not someone from the draft. Is that real or is it not? I'm going to say that's real. I'm going to say it's real. Just because, like, the Raiders are like actively trying to add a veteran, like at all costs, and they want to win now. So whoever they get, they're gonna be prioritizing them to start. But there's always a small chance that a Russell Wilson situation. Pete Carroll coached the Seahawks in the past, and who was the starter going into that training camp, or going into that supposedly supposed to be Flynn, right? I think they picked him up that year. Was it Flynn or Charlie Whitehurst? Yeah. It was one of those quarterbacks.
It's Matt Flynn.
And not just Matt Flynn too. there was that quarterback from the Vikings. Oh man, I'm trying to think of his name. He was part of the competition. It was
The Vikings.
Yeah, from the Vikings. I'm taking it way back. I'm trying to think of his name. Like mobile QB.
Was he a high draft pick for the Vikings?
Damn. Ah man, someone in the chat might help me out, man.
I don't remember.
I'm trying to think.
But hey,
look,
Vikings
QBs. My thing is that I think it's real. I think it's real, 100%. I think they're gonna try to get a vet in there. It's funny that you said someone on the roster. I don't think AOC is gonna be really comfortable on that bench, man. I don't think he's gonna be coming in, but we'll see, man. But what's your take, man?
Yeah, it's real. I mean,
Raiders Zach, man. Tavares Jackson. Hey, you're a monster. You're a beast, man.
Tavares Jackson. Did he play for the Seahawks for a little while?
They traded for him. I remember they made a trade.
Okay.
The one thing I respect about Pete Carroll, like before they got Russell Wilson, they were wheeling and dealing. They were making moves. Like they didn't do what the Raiders did last offseason and just not do anything and just sign Minshew and that's it.
I don't remember him being a part of that conversation. I remember him being there. I remember him playing for them. I don't remember him being part of the competition. I mean, obviously he was, but I don't remember him being. I remember him being on the team though.
He was part of that quarterback room. He was part of.
Okay. I remember him being there. Yeah, I remember him being with the Seahawks.
Yeah,
that's the only team I've been. I remember him being with the Vikings. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember him being with the Seahawks for sure though.
Yeah, I think that's where they traded for him from the Vikings. Didn't he start?
That's crazy.
At some point for the Vikings? He played. He played.
Maybe I'm trying to think. Maybe because the Vikings would have had that quarterback out of Florida State. Maybe he replaced him. What's the guy out of Florida State?
Damn. Oh, damn. I think I remember.
Dang, I can't remember his name. The chat gonna find him.
I'm looking at Tavares
Jackson.
Jackson
In the first round.
Tavares Jackson. He was selected by the Vikings in the second round in 2006 NFL draft. Tavares Jackson.
Dang, what's the quarterback? Florida State. Damn, bro. I was just talking about him the other day too. That guy was a bum. Dang. I can't think, man. My name's just killing me today. Man.
In 2007, he had 12 starts with the Vikings. In 2008, he had 5 starts. He had 5 starts. And then like after that, he was just a regular. He was just a bench player. After 2008.
No, right is like that. That was Carolina drafted Chris Weinke.
Oh damn! No, he started 14 games for the Seahawks in 2011.
Okay.
Oh shit.
No, not Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward went to play basketball. Dang, it was a quarterback. Maybe it's not Florida State. I'm pretty sure it's Florida State.
I'm tripping.
Drafted by the Vikings in the first round.
Chris Weinke?
Dang. Not Chris Weinke. He went to Carolina. That was a dude that was 28 years old. That was Tyler
Raiders Zach is bringing it. Hey, he is coming with it, man.
I remember Chris Weinke. That was the. I want to say that was Carolina.
Florida.
Charlie Ward,
quarterback.
Yeah, Charlie Ward went to play basketball. He won the Heisman at Florida State. Played basketball. He played for the Knicks with Chris Childs in the backcourt.
You said Minnesota. I think I remember. You said Minnesota. Minnesota.
Most basic. He looks like the most generic quarterback ever.
I remember this. We're not ending this show until we figure this out, man. Let me see. Minnesota. Damn. Oh, it was a weirdo quarterback too.
He's just super generic. Yeah, I think he was an older guy too.
This is after Culpepper too.
After Culpepper, yes.
Minnesota Viking. Damn, how do you even search for this? What year? What year are you talking about?
Dang, I don't remember. Let me see. I'm about to find it.
You know what? I know how to search for it. Okay, so if he started if Tavares Jackson started in 12 games in 2007, Brad
Christian
Johnson?
Ponder.
Christian Ponder. That's what I was thinking. Damn. I was going to find that. Damn. Christian Ponder. Damn, he was trash. Mataz, man. He was garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage. He was. Damn. Christian Ponder. Damn. See, that's a random name. You know it's a random quarterback name that wasn't good? J.P. Losman.
Oh man, J.P. Losman was supposed to be that dude, bro. J.P. Losman was supposed to
play.
Man,
play
what's crazy about
Bills.
J.P. Losman? So J.P. Losman went to this. He went to the same high school my daughters went to. He went to Venice High, and he was a super high recruit. And I want to say, I'm not 100% sure on this. I can't remember the order. I want to say P. Losman was going to go to UCLA. He's like, I want to say he was a 5-star recruit, or he's like a 4-star recruit. And he was going to go to UCLA. And then I think UCLA also ended up getting a commitment from Cal Bowler. So they told JP Losman, hey, you know what? We're going to go with Cal Bowler. Like, you should go find some other schools to go to. And then Cal Bowler reneged on his commit to UCLA and went to Cal. And then J.P. Losman was like, yeah, F y'all, I'm not messing with y'all now. I forgot what school he ended up going to, but that was crazy.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. Damn. We could go on and on, man. It's getting late. This has been a longer show than we expected, but we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Locker. Whoo, from Washington. Yeah. You go to the Huskies. Yeah. Play for the Huskies.
Yeah.
He went to Tennessee. He's trash too. He wasn't good too.
Jake was a dog in college though, bro.
Yeah.
Jake Locker was too physical. That was
Tuiasosopo was a dog too.
Washington too. Yeah.
At Washington. Yeah. But he didn't have a good NFL career. But yeah, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. Clock in, clock out at this point. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We'll have plenty of time to talk about. Around the Shield. We'll be back this week. Have a special guest too as well. Talk about free agency and everything that's going on with the Raiders. So make sure to tune in for Around the Shield with episode dropping this Friday. Last week we had to drop it early just because of the news of Stafford coming out a little earlier than expected. But we'll be back to our usual time. Friday evening. So just make sure to tune in for Around the Shield later this week. My guy Severe, man, where can they find you? What can they look forward to? All that good stuff.
You guys know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, IG, Snapchat, X, TikTok, all that good stuff. You know where I'm at, man. Every Sunday night, Sunday I do a rock out with guys. My guys Chris and 805. Usually Tuesday afternoon, we do a show, man. I got caught up with some stuff for work today, so we had to push it. We will be back tomorrow, so you guys look out for us tomorrow. Then, of course, the world famous 50-50 show every Tuesday, evening. If you're on the East Coast, Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, rather. So right. check us out. I know Jeff is probably like, it's like 3:30 where he's at right now. And then, of course, Around the Shield, man. Generally, we drop it on Friday nights, but as you guys know, this last one we had to drop it a little bit early just because all the news, everything that was going on. So make sure y'all check us out for the latest and greatest going on with the Raiders, man. Now is the time. Championship teams are building the offseason. So now is the time for you guys to really lock in, really start paying attention, really start focusing in and kind of see who we're going to add to our roster. And help us build towards competing for Lombardi's in the future.
Yeah, facts, 100%, man. Like Severe said, later this week, Around the Shield. Next week, we'll be back at it. 50-50 show every Tuesday evenings. Also, follow us on Around the Shield all over social media, most importantly on Twitter and on IG for the latest greatest with the Raiders. And obviously, my social media as well as Severe, man. Y'all see it on the screen, or I should see it on y'all figure it out, man. Hey, it's the Severe Raider, obviously, PharoahNFL. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. We got to get out of here, man. Any last thoughts, Severe? We get out?
Yeah, man. Dylan Gabriel sucks. Jalen Monroe sucks. Will Howard sucks.
With the third-round pick, the Raiders draft Jalen Monroe, man. It can happen.
I can see
it. It can happen.
I can see
All right, y'all, man. We out of here, man. Peace.
Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.